Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Hey, Andrew Berry did a terrible job at the press conference. Welcome, everybody, to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We're now giving credit. We're going to give credit to beat reporters for actually asking questions. That's what we're going to do. We're going to pat them on the back. All right, welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, along with Dustin Fox, G. Bush, the Mad Hatter over there. There he is. He's got the hat going.
Big pimpin'
Hey,
today,
man,
huh?
I'm just, I'm doing a little cowboy action. This is clean. I never know if I'm going to be clean until I see it in the studio, but
Hey,
this
man,
is clean.
A lot of the brothers going country now.
Yeah, man. Listen,
Big thing.
I do my little,
Shabuzi.
I do my covers on the side. So what I'm gonna do is like I have to learn the country songs. It's a different rhythm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I gotta figure that out. But just doing a little Western.
There you go.
Doing a little
Western motif. Mike, Anthony, Earl, Steve, all here today. Mike, give us a read because we got to talk about Andrew Berry. We know the Cavs are trying to make it 9-0 for the first time in franchise history. We'll get to that in a little bit. Everybody excited about this game tonight against New Orleans, although a lot of the New Orleans players might not be playing. Some of their best guys before we play Golden State on Friday to try to get to 10-0 for the first time in franchise history. So we'll get to that, but we're going to start with Andrew Berry's press conference. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, we'll dive in. Andrew Berry's press conference and our immediate reaction to what Andrew Berry had to say is brought to us by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if that $5 bet wins. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out all the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to join today. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Guys, Andrew Berry just spoke in the press conference. As usual, he really didn't give you much of anything. He was non-committal about Deshaun Watson. Did say their number one priority is injury. You never know how they're going to come. Coming back from the injury, you never know how guys are going to come back from that. He was asked right at the end. What's the new ESPN beat reporter?
It's Daniel Oyefusi.
Oyefusi?
Oyefusi.
Thank you for pronouncing that.
Yes,
Okay.
I did not know how to pronounce his name. So
Cool
Daniel,
dude. We like Daniel. Make sure you
I
follow
haven't met him yet, but he seems to be doing a pretty good job so
Were you
far.
not here when he came in? He came in one day.
No, I was
I
not
must
been
have
here.
that day.
But he asked specifically. He asked some good questions. I actually got to give him credit for that. But at the end, they were asked specifically. Actually, Mary Kay asked this. Will Deshaun? Is there a possibility that Deshaun Watson can play for the Browns again? And he didn't say definitely yes. He said anything's. I can't remember the exact quote because, of course, I don't have it.
He
in front
said
of me
it's always possible.
It's
was the
always
exact
possible.
wording.
Which was an interesting. What do you make of that comment? You reading between the lines on that?
It's always possible.
Yeah.
Am I reading through the lines? Yeah. I mean, he wouldn't have said that a month ago.
No.
There's no chance. I mean, Deshaun Watson was the future.
Right.
Before, October began, essentially,
Yes.
right? And so this is all new coming out of the front office. And clearly, how many times can they look at us and spit in our face or pee in our face and tell us it's raining?
That's right.
I mean,
Yeah.
that was the old Sean Salisbury
That
line
was,
from our show. But,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's frustrating. At least
Yeah.
they're maybe turning the page to, hey, listen, Deshaun's probably not coming back. Not probably. Definitely
Yeah.
not coming back.
G, did you read it the same way as Dustin?
How do you feel?
Man, I kind of tuned him out, man. When I heard he was talking, I was like, what are you gonna say? Like they've been bringing these dudes out before the bye week, and you guys are 2-7, and so you didn't answer nothing. You asked about the quarterback, don't answer. They asked about what DePodesta does not answer anything. And they are very good at not seeming like they're panicking.
Yeah.
I'll give them credit for that. But it comes off as gaslighting you because you're like, listen, bro, we're not dumb. Y'all are in dire straits. The part that hits the most hard is the other teams around the league didn't even like your players good enough to give you solid offers on a fire sale. It's like, call us when you want to get rid of Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
Other than that, we don't like your roster.
Do you think that like the Browns players, the Browns front office, like read their news clippings about how good the roster is? Because I don't know. We were all told that this was some magical roster that was going to be one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
Well, if it's that good and that deep, why are we nobody wanted our guys?
Yeah, that's part of it too. And
by the way, people wanted Myles Garrett. Come on.
Oh, sure, Myles Garrett. Yeah.
No, but he said that they didn't field calls. Like, okay. Of course you field calls.
Of course.
Somebody called you. We gave you 4 first-round picks. You're getting.
Yeah. I'm sure there were people interested in David Njoku too. He probably didn't want to trade him. Yeah. The guys they were willing to trade.
Right.
I'm sure they tried to trade Quentin Jefferson. They had to cut him. He got signed by the Bills today.
Think about that.
Yeah.
One of your big signings that you talked about wow, that's going to be a bolstering to what we're doing. You had to cut him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He wasn't even that much of an impact that you had to just let him roll out. Like
Mike Hall took his reps.
I mean, that's great. I just think that when he's up here talking, I've been looking at in the forecast of it. I don't know what their plan is. The plan is not easy. You don't have great quarterbacks in the draft. Do you want to go get a retread? You still have questions about what Deshaun Watson and how much money he's going to cost. You don't seem like you got a quarterback that could be a bridge or a guy that you're going to play this year.
Oh, you changed your mind after 1 week with Jameis?
Man, listen, hey, that was an easy change.
But dude, it was one game.
I know. I think Jameis will play well against New Orleans.
He will play well against New Orleans.
The Chargers had a good defense.
Here's the thing that changed.
Yeah.
When you talk about Jameis being a bridge quarterback, are you saying that he's a bridge quarterback that's going to get you be top 10, top 12?
Dude, we have no idea. I mean, I'm telling you, last week we had a conversation after his great performance against the Baltimore Ravens that he could be the guy for the next several years. Dude, it's one game.
Yeah.
Let's have a conversation in December about Jameis Winston.
It was silly to overreact the way a lot of us did after the win and how well he played there. And now it's silly to overreact the other way because he played poorly in this game. Let's see how he plays the rest of the season.
Bingo.
What I've said all along is, listen, you'll either play your way into the position or out of it. So, you're
right about that.
But not based on one game.
Yeah, a lot of
good or bad.
A lot of the enthusiasm about Jameis Winston is obviously going to go down a lot when you see 5 or 6 interceptions, right? But he's going to get another opportunity.
Yeah.
The thing is, who's making these evaluations, right? Like, we still don't know to this day who moved Baker, who got Deshaun Watson, and who said Flacco had to roll out. Because this is important moving forward. If you're going to have these guys rebuilding your team, you have to have faith that those guys can make evaluations on people.
Right, but if they don't make any changes, it does. Ultimately, when we talk about the team, I'm just going forward because all we do is debate all the time. Was that Kevin's decision? Was it Andrew's decision? Was it Andrew's decision or Deep Podesta's decision?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Like Andrew Berry's in charge of the roster, or building the roster, and Kevin Stefanski's in charge of decisions with the coaching staff and the team. And I'm going to blame or give credit to Kevin Stefanski, everything coach related, and I'm going to blame and give credit to Andrew Berry for everything he does in terms of the roster going forward. Because since we don't know, I just got to go with that. They don't want to tell us, so I'm just going to go with that. I don't know.
So you got to go look at the results. I think we're past the point where we can stop sheltering people. Where it's like, oh, it wasn't that guy's fault. You're so results oriented in business.
Yeah,
you're not winning. You're 2-7. What are you going to do to make it better?
Yeah. And here's the thing, about Jameis Winston. We have to see how he plays the rest of the year. Could he be their starting quarterback next year? Sure. If he plays well enough, could he be a quarterback that gets him to the playoffs? Why not? Sam Darnold's going to get Minnesota to the playoffs. Baker Mayfield, I don't know that he's going to get Tampa Bay to the playoffs, but if they don't, it's not going to be his fault. I'll tell you that.
He's out there with.
He's playing pretty well. He's not spectacular, but he's playing pretty well. I'm not going to be a phony about it just because I'm not a fan of the guy. He's playing pretty well. They didn't lose that game to the Chiefs in overtime because of Baker Mayfield.
They go to overtime on the road,
and
he's thrown to 3 white dudes.
That's right. Exactly. Now he'll get Mike Evans back.
I'm saying.
Mike Evans will be back, in a couple weeks. But Godwin's gone for the year. He's turned Kate. Kate had been nothing before.
Dude, he looked great.
He's been fantastic with Baker.
Scotty Miller.
So, yeah, I mean, like, Baker's playing well enough. Darnold's playing well enough. I'm forgetting another.
Geno.
Geno. Like,
Jared
your
Goff.
Guy, Geno. Who?
Jared Goff as the.
Goff.
Well, to me, Jared Goff's not in the same category
No,
as those
Goff.
guys.
Him, Adam, and I had a conversation about Goff today. I mean, Goff's been to a Super Bowl.
Goff's a good quarterback.
He's a really good quarterback.
He's not elite, but he's good. Those other guys, like, I don't know. I don't know how good Baker's going to be long term going forward, or Sam Darnold, or Geno Smith. I mean, Geno's older than the other two guys. But, like, if those guys could end up being top 10, top 12 quarterbacks for a year, maybe 2 years, whatever, so could Jameis. He's not that old either. But I'm not going to anoint him after one good game, and I'm not going to throw him in the garbage after one bad game. Go ahead.
I agree with everything you had on Jameis. I want to mention one other thing about the press conference that kind of stuck out to me. And I'm curious if you guys picked up on the same way. I put it in the text chat, but Andrew Berry said multiple times he's not in reflection mode.
I'm so annoyed. It's just
in a bye-week presser, every
press
conference is a reflection of what had happened.
Yeah, then don't do a press conference if you're going to ignore the questions. Essentially, I can't talk about this. I can't talk about contracts. I can't talk about the future. I can't talk about. Why can't they say what Paul DePodesta's job is?
It makes no sense.
Why is this a secret?
Nobody knows.
Why can't he couldn't answer the question? You have an employee. The Cleveland Browns have an employee. Why can we not say what his job is?
So here's this is truth by omission. The reason he can't say what he does is because he just confirmed that he's his boss.
Well, I think we knew that already.
Well, I mean, but it doesn't get any clearer to that. They'll say, "Hey, what does Steve Becker do?" You don't ask me. He called the shots in Atlanta. That's
but I would say
doing.
Steve Becker's our executive producer.
But if
we touch base with him, we negotiate contracts with him. He texts too much.
He has a say in every decision we make.
That's it. I mean, we know we can say what he does.
G14.
It's not a big secret.
I mean,
he books guests.
He books guests.
It's G14 classified. They are very smart. If you keep it vague, the anger cannot be displaced to one person.
No, I'm going to displace it to everybody.
Okay, well, there it is. He got to take the heat for it.
And I give my guy Jeff Shadell. He's our boy, Jeff Shadell. He was the only one that followed up. When Jeff asked him, Jeff goes, is Ken Dorsey in trouble? And Andrew Berry kind of laughed and was like, we like the job Ken Dorsey's doing, blah, 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 blah. And then Jeff said, so are you saying he's not in trouble? That his job is secure? And Andrew Berry would not answer that directly. He would not say, yes, his job is secure. Good job by Jeff following up on that question.
Because this is why I always have a problem with these extensions. We beg and clamor for people to get extensions. And I'm going to keep it real. I don't care nothing about all that stuff. Guess what our extensions look like? We get 2-week extensions here. It'd be like, yeah, you did a good job last week. We're going to give you 6 more months. These dudes get 4, 5, 10 years, whatever the case may be, and it gives them an opportunity to sit up in these press conferences and be smug. Like, how can you say, I would ask, how can you say you like the job they're doing and you're 2-7? How is that possible? Like, you love.
I like my bank account?
Yeah. That's it.
He's happy with the quarterback room.
You like the quarterback room. You love your receivers. You're not going to reflect. Why are you out here?
Stop. Go ahead.
No, I just was going to say, I feel like you can be a human being up there and be like, hey, listen, we've got to play better at that position. Instead of, we love our room. It's always like so and I get it. You want to be positive about your guys and about your team, but you can also be realistic. And the players know in the locker room, like when you're playing well and when you're not playing well, when things are going a certain way, like it's okay. And they could even own up to the Deshaun stuff and be like, it really hasn't worked out to this point. And, it's unfortunate. I would love to hear that.
Right. Some level of honesty. He did admit the team wasn't playing well. No kidding. They're 2-7.
Captain Obvious there.
But he pushed most of the he just talked around with big words, and we know everybody on the Browns is smart. We get it. They're not. I don't know that they're as smart as they think they are. Because we love hearing. And by the way,
when you think that everything, you think you know everything, and you don't want to experiment or look at other things, and it's like your way or the highway. It's like they're so set in their ways, and again, we don't know exactly every detail to what they do, but it just seems like you said smarter than everybody else.
Yeah.
When you're that guy, you can't even see another side,
That's true.
or to see another way to do it. And when you're that stubborn, I just think it's a tough deal. And the Browns have bought into this way of thinking. Well, actually, they were in the other way of thinking with Dorsey, the football guy. Then they go straight all in with the analytics for the most part here. So this isn't working. That way, we don't know if it was going to work because they never had a chance to finish it. They lined everything up. I
mentioned this the other day. If John Dorsey had not hired Freddie Kitchens, who knows where we'd be right now?
Yeah,
because
that was probably
that sunk him because it was such a bad hire.
I always go back to this, right? Freddie Kitchens was known as an offensive guy, right? Freddie Kitchens had 1,000-yard running back, 2,000-yard receivers, and we ain't sniffed that type of production, right? 2, 3, 4, 5 years later, you look back and you're like, dang, he was the only guy actually to put Chubb and Hunt in the same backfield. He was the only guy to actually do some of those things. For me, he won't reflect. I'll reflect on this. We should have seen the signs, and I'll raise my hand on this. I'm not going to listen to nobody telling me what they feel about their roster. We should have known something was up by the number of one-year deals that the Browns were loading their roster with. Every single person from the Hurst, the Zadarius Smith, the Shelby Harrises of the world, every year they get another retread middle linebacker, whether it's it's Goodson or whether it's Anthony Walker. Now then it was Hicks this year. They find another safety like John Johnson and Juan Thornhill that good teams say they ain't using no more and can get younger and play. And we get these guys in here and we just crown them and anoint them. And I'm looking around, I'm like, where are your playmakers that you put your hands on? That was crazy, I'm sorry, pause. Yeah. That was wild. That you developed, that you put in the system, that you identified, and they're like, wow, the Browns got this kid. There aren't enough of those people. Yeah. There just aren't. You can't build a roster off free agency. They still haven't identified the quarterback that works. We got to stop taking it because we got bamboozled thinking that this was a roster, and then we watch other teams, Dustin, and they got playmakers jumping off the page, just jumping.
Well, all I know is there were a lot. Listen, and I overrated the talent too, so I don't give myself a pass. But there are a lot of times where people are arguing, Browns have the best roster minus quarterback.
Yep.
I mean, we went too far.
Yeah, we was out of pocket.
They overachieved last year. I thought Kevin Stefanski did a great job last year. They did make a mistake in letting Joe Flacco go. I think that was a mistake. Not that Jameis might not be just as good as Joe Flacco, but it feels like a mistake right now because it gave the whole team had an energy when Joe Flacco played.
They did.
And I don't know. Maybe they will with Jameis the rest of the season, but it doesn't matter now because they're 2-7. So even if they do, but as a Browns fan right now, I just wonder how are you? I was talking to somebody who works on my podcast who lives in New Orleans. He's a Saints fan, so they're in a miserable way too. And he said to me, who do you think's in the worst shape in the NFL, the Browns, the Saints, or the Panthers? And I'm like, that's where we're at. I mean, we're back to the dregs. Yeah, Andrew Berry's like, well, it's not all on the quarterback when they kept. I'm so sick of it's annoying enough when fans that defend Deshaun Watson say it's not all on Deshaun Watson. Of course, it's never only on one player, 100%. But the number one reason why the Browns are where they are is because their quarterback play has been, outside of one game with Jameis, has been bad. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest reason. Of course, it's not the only reason. And, Andrew Berry's like, if it was only one thing, we could fix it. Really? The Browns haven't fixed it for 30 years at that position.
I mean, that he just admitted that his roster has multiple.
That's true. He did admit that.
Holes.
Yeah.
And then I would ask them, are you admitting that Jed Wills was a bust?
Well, they're going to admit that when they let him walk.
He's a healthy scratch. They said, DeJuan Jones is the left tackle. Jed Wills is back, but that's a top 10 pick that looks like it's not hitting. Greg Newsome, top one, 23, 22.
Yeah.
That's a pick.
Andrew Berry didn't draft Jed, to be fair, right?
No, they drafted him.
No, I think that was his first draft.
That was his first draft?
No.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure 2020 draft was Berry's first, correct?
21, 2.
Because he came in with Stefanski.
You're right. It was his first. You're right.
Yeah, that's his first draft.
Top 10 pick.
That's right. Yeah.
Then you got Greg Newsome. That was a first-round pick.
Yeah, I mean, those 2 first-round picks.
And he makes a play like once every 3 games.
Yeah,
4.
And he acts like he's Denzel.
He just that dude.
Oh my God, the celebrations
I know,
with him when they're losing,
I
it's so
hate that.
embarrassing.
I'm not trying to be a hater, but it's so annoying when you're struggling, and then guys are like doing the whole
I know.
when they make a play.
When you're winning, do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I'm with you on that.
It comes off as I only care about me and not about the team.
Yeah, I think it's as a fan, it's almost
Yeah.
embarrassing too as a fan to
Yeah.
see that. You're like, dude, we're losing, and
Yeah.
And again, I'm happy they're making good plays. I'm not saying
Sure.
that you don't want guys to ball out, but just have some situational awareness.
Well, I told Tyvis this, being a corner, I got a problem when you're doing all these handshakes and you look like you're doing West Coast gang signs and you got all these stop signs. You look like you're doing sign language.
After the play?
After the play. Yeah. But during the play, you can't get the cover two. You don't know. You can't signal to my corners over there, hey, this the hand motion means we in 3, or this is you guys practice that stuff you know how many handshakes they got? Everybody got it 1. So you got to practice those between meetings, at home, on the way to the car. You telling me you can't look over and say, hey, Denzel, this is a cover 2. Yeah, we're gonna run it, so we all on the same page. They can't do that.
Coming up later, we got Tyvis's take on what happened with those breakdowns. We want to get your take on that coming up in just a little bit. But let's talk about a team that actually is worthy of our conversation.
Thank you.
And that's the Cleveland Cavaliers. Go ahead, Mike.
And we'll get to the Cavs talk after a quick word from Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike on other apps, with Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Prize Picks puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When the picks hit, you get your money back in as quick as 15 minutes. Download the Prize Picks app today and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL and get $50 instantly when you play just $5. That's code LOCKEDONNFL on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even have to win to receive the bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game when you want. Guys, tonight the Cavs can tie the best start. I lied.
By the way, why is Anthony making a fantasy football transaction during the show? Let's go, Anthony. Focus up.
I'm not clipping today, so I got some extra time.
Earl's clipping. So the Cavs can set a new franchise record by winning tonight and starting the season 9-0. They're playing the New Orleans Pelicans in New Orleans in the 1976-1977 season. That's the last time the Cavs had started 8-0. In that season, they lost at Atlanta in the 9th game. That year, they finished 43-39 in the season, lost in the first round. So, Bull, G, Dustin, can the Cavs start the season 9-0 tonight?
Well, first of all, do we know the status of
Brandon
Ingram and Williamson?
Zion's questionable. I believe Ingram's going to play. Ingram played Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been hit or miss, though. And no CJ McCollum. He's out for a few weeks.
Correct.
So they're still 7.5-point favorites tonight. I saw that. So can they get it? Of course they can get it. The Cavs should. They're scoring like 130 points a game. All of the analytics nerds out there in basketball, like the NBA guys, love the Cavaliers. Like they're number 1 in offensive efficiency, like number 1 or 2 in defensive efficiency. Like all these analytical numbers are saying the Cavs are playing really good basketball right now. So why would they not be able to go to 9-0?
Why not, G?
I don't see why not.
The only way I would think that they wouldn't is if they, somehow got a lack of focus or they, started reading their own press clippings. But the thing about having a new coach is it's just like having a new teacher every single year at school. Like, you got to prove yourself all over again. Like, he's going to coach a certain way, and you know that you fighting for your minutes every single week, every single game. There's guys, he could pull a guy off the bench. He don't, when you get veterans like Tito Francona, you can go through a 0 for 90 slump and he'll put you out there still. Or if you with JB, he been here a while. There it is. We see it all the time. Not balling out, and all of a sudden you still in the lineup. But when you get a new coach and you winning, the next dude coming off that bench is ready to go. Yeah. Nobody is averaging over 30 minutes. So when your minutes is limited, you better get in the game and do what you need to do. Ty Jerome, Sam Merrill's been playing well. Karis LeVert didn't even play last game.
Yeah, what's the status with LeVert and Wade for tonight?
Game time decisions as of right
now.
So both questionable.
One of them was sick, right? Or no?
LeVert had Jalen Tyson has a sore hip. LeVert had a I believe, a sore knee. Dean
Yeah.
Wade was warming up last game, then didn't play, so he might have been the illness.
Maybe
but
sick.
They're all questionable as of
Yeah, all
right
right.
now.
Hey, but if Darius Garland want to get 39 points, it don't matter. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if Darius Garland is going to pick up the slack when Donovan Mitchell didn't have it because he had tired legs, if you can transition and say Darius Garland is now going to be back to a point where you can count on him to pick up the load and Evan Mobley stays aggressive, it'll
Dean
be hard
Wade's
to
out
beat.
tonight, by the way.
Who?
Dean
Wade is out tonight.
What are they saying is his issue?
He just listed it out.
Hopefully,
Zion's a game-time decision. McCollum, Herb Jones, DeJounte Murray all out tonight for New Orleans.
oh man, I forgot they have DeJounte Murray too.
Oh yeah,
He broke his hand in the first game of the season.
Yeah, man, they got a good roster.
yeah.
They do.
I like Dean Wade in the starting lineup. I hate that he's hurt already. The guy is always hurt. Hopefully he'll get the injuries out of the way early, and so he's ready for the playoffs this year.
Right.
But the Cavs should be 9-0. Yes, they should break this franchise record and get to 9-0, and this has created a level of excitement.
And Dean is sick, by the way.
He is sick.
He's just
Okay,
sick,
so
it's
that's
not an
good.
injury.
Better him being sick than injured.
Yeah.
Dustin, I was talking about this the other day. And you're not you're like more of a casual Guardians fan, not a die.
Correct.
You're not obsessed with it like
don't
I
have
am.
to,
with
you don't
it.
have to, give a whole dissertation about why I'm not a
Right, yeah.
People know that.
Yeah.
People know that.
But the point is,
My
the reason
resume is there.
Well, no, it's important to bring up because beyond the playoffs, which is obvious, when your team's in the playoffs, it's exciting.
Yeah.
But remember when the Guardians in 2017 won the 20 in a row?
Yes.
Right? We had so much fun talking about them on the radio because there's something special about a long winning streak.
Absolutely.
In any sport, you get caught up. I'm not as into the Cavs as I am into football and baseball. I'm not as into basketball, but I'm into the Cavs more than I normally would be in the first week of November because not only is it a winning streak, but it's a winning streak to start the season. That's like an additional level.
Yeah, they had the great run last year in
Right, when they went 18 and 2.
in like February.
Right.
Yeah. And that was a great run. Everyone's talking about that, but this
Exactly,
to your
but
point,
this is
the
different.
start the year.
Yes.
It's incredible. And the NBA world and community should and are talking about
Absolutely.
the Cavaliers as
Absolutely.
a team because I don't know when you watch the league, the association, if you will.
Yeah.
There it is.
Who's great?
Yeah, I mean, we know
There's
Boston's
three
great.
teams.
Boston's a
Three teams.
a
I
I
great
think
team,
Oklahoma
I think.
City's really good, but
Yeah.
they're unproven too.
Well, and the Cavs. Those three are the three best teams
Yeah.
in basketball right now.
Right. But
I mean, you look at the West. It's like who in the West?
Yeah,
do you-
nobody's standing
I mean,
out.
the Nuggets have struggled to start the season.
yeah,
I usually
Milwaukee struggled in the East.
Yeah,
Hey, question for you guys.
Yeah.
How many teams in the Eastern Conference right now are above 500?
above
I think
500.
there's only like
Above.
3 or 4.
So you said 3 or 4. Dustin,
Yeah.
what's your number?
Yeah, I'll go 5. How about that?
G, what's your number?
4.
I'll say 3 officially.
2. The Celtics and the Cavs.
That's it, huh?
Only 2 teams above 500.
That's funny. I mean, it's only been 8 games or 9 or 7 or
There's
whatever.
8
but-
in the Western Conference.
8 in the Western Conference?
Okay.
8 in the West.
Yeah, I
2
mean,
in
that
the
could,
East.
like 3 days from now could be different.
I'm just saying, it goes to
Yeah.
show the parity already.
This is why I see what you're saying about the win streak, but I think the interest in the Cavs will continue to be there even without the win streak when they lose.
Agreed, but it's a bigger story now. Like tonight's game, with all the injuries that New Orleans has,
If they were 7-1 tonight,
if they're 7-1, it's not as exciting.
8-0
It's still-
chasing history. It's
Right.
marquee event.
And this Friday, if they win tonight, especially if Steph Curry plays Friday, and I don't know, what's his status? Because I know he hasn't played every game this year.
The Warriors play tonight.
Okay.
They're at the Celtics tonight, by the way.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And Steph's not even on the injury report, so I assume.
All
he's
right, great.
playing.
Talk about the excitement. What's it called now? The arena? I can't even think
What,
of
Cavaliers?
The
Rock and
Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
I wanted
the
to call
Rock.
it the
The Rock
Q.
is terrible.
The
I
Rock's
still
terrible?
call it the Q. Who cares?
The Q.
I call it the Q.
Yeah, you call Cleveland Brown Stadium Cleveland Brown Stadium.
true.
You don't call it Huntington Bank.
The
Call the
Q.
Cavs whatever you want.
What is the Q going to be like if the Browns win? The Cavs
You're
win
out of
tonight. They're 9-0.
Playing the Warriors
and you're
Friday
playing
night, yeah.
Steph Curry and the Warriors.
Who could be 6-2 or
Right.
7-1?
Yeah. By the way, I hate to say this because, and Dustin knows this better than most, how much I used to hate Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Is there anybody more likable than this guy?
Now he is, yeah.
Right? He's like one of the most
Now
likable
that
guys.
the Cavs and Warriors haven't,
Yeah.
the rivalry's been dead since LeBron
Right, now you
left.
can appreciate his
I mean,
awesomeness and
he
his
is
niceness.
such a great player.
Yeah, and he seems like a great guy.
he
he's
does.
one of
Yeah,
the
he
only. He's the one of the only must-watch people. Like, okay, like if they come on, you flicking, you're like, I'm gonna watch that.
Right.
Now, I think the reason that the Cavs are so exciting, chances that, I look at it, how many games they play, I probably watch maybe like 72 games a year.
Mm-hmm.
I very rarely miss any basketball games. I watch random games. And the reason why I'm excited, and a lot of other people are excited that watch basketball closely, and McNuggets can probably speak to this too, is even when they were playing last year and they went 18-2 or something like that, the way that they were winning those games was impressive, but it was always something in the back of your mind that when you was looking at it, it's like, I don't know if this translates.
Felt like a facade.
Yeah, this
that's true.
This don't translate. But now you go to the 8-0, what they're doing now, the stuff that they're doing, it's translatable. The ball movement translates, because early on, I would not consider that the Cavs would be able to pick up this type of ball rotation that early, and especially dealing with the way they used to play. When you're in that structure and you used to just stagnant play, it's hard to break old habits. But the way they move in the basketball and the way that they have now encouraged Evan Mobley to continue to do what he needs to do, and he, you told me the other day, he said, look, Atkinson told Evan Mobley, he pulls it up on the screen. See how you driving the basketball? See how you doing that? We need you to do that every single play. We need that. And that reinforcement gives people confidence level to continue on with that process. So for me, I think this is translatable. In every single game, I'm watching it with a lens and an eye on, all right, let me see how the subject's
Yeah, and
doing.
it's such a great point by you, especially about the Evan Mobley. And that's coaching, I think. I do believe, like, this offseason, like, they have given him a new level of confidence that has elevated his game. He's always had it. I mean, I don't know that he looks any different. Like, his body hasn't gotten that much bigger. I mean, obviously bigger than when he was a rookie.
It's a little bigger, but not much.
But for the most part, kind of the same dude. And this is the whole same team as
Yeah,
last year.
same
So
squad.
you got to give Kenny Atkinson a lot of credit. The team looks like a basketball team that can compete. Not just for a great regular season run, but we're talking about for a playoff run. Maybe get to the finals again. I mean, this is a very talented team. The team that we thought we'd see last year and the last couple of years, finally, and again, it's early, but still, this translates, I think, to a postseason.
I mean, my expectation, like, now is that the minimum for this team should be Eastern Conference Finals against Boston.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
You got to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. It feels like they're good enough. It feels like they're good enough to beat anybody if they're healthy in the playoffs. And coming up later when we get back to the Cavs, I want to talk about, like, what people are most excited about. Like, what player are you kind of feeling the most right now? And when you talk about Evan Mobley, and credit goes to the coaching, and credit to Donovan Mitchell too, as the leader and the star of this team. He's had to have said to Evan, we need you to be better. We need you to be a star. And he's playing like it right now. And if he does, then the sky's the limit for this team.
I've always liked Donovan and thought he was a great leader.
Yeah.
And I'm just seeing how, like, unselfish he can be as he's maturing. As a player, getting a little bit older in terms of, being around the game this long. He wants to win. Yeah. And I think as a player, you get the bag, right? It's all about getting the money at some point. He's got the money. He's going to make tons and tons more. Now you want to win. And he's in Cleveland. He's got a really talented team. Why not us?
He did. I think it was big for their confidence too when we was, the media and the fans were hot when Jared Allen didn't play. Yeah. We looked at Darius Garland. We were like, he's a shell of himself. And the cool thing about what Donovan Mitchell did is he came to all their aid. Like, he was vocal in the press. Like, no, like, if I'm going to stay here, I want Jared Allen on the team. He's one of my best friends on the squad. Yeah. He always grabbing Darius Garland, said, I told you Darius Garland was going to get back to what he's doing, and encouraging him doing what they are. And look, I think he really pushed when he signed to say, I want everybody back. That was a gamble. Like, you had
everybody back but JB.
Yeah, but JB, right? and so, he pushed the right buttons, and he owned it. So, and Kobe Altman is the biggest beneficiary of it, right? Because now he looks like he's completely vindicated.
Oh, yeah.
From the roster standpoint, he had to make a tough decision on JB, but it looks like right now that was the absolute right decision.
That's right. Mike, give us a final thought on this before we bring in Leroy.
Yeah, first off, you mentioned Donovan kind of inspiring Evan Mobley.
Yeah.
Evan Mobley said after last game that Tristan Thompson was the guy in his ear consistently over the summer saying, hey, we need you. This team needs you. You got it. So shout out to Tristan.
Love it.
And we talked about Kenny Atkinson getting a lot of credit. Jason and I talked about this last night. Kobe Altman deserves some credit, too, for sticking with the roster that he thought could come together. Making the only change was really the coach. And he said, I believe in this roster. I think it can be better than what it's been. And so far, it's early, but the early results have.
Yeah, I mean, he got a lot of media backlash from us, from others, and a lot of fan backlash for just sitting on his hands besides the coach.
But and
right now, it looks like it was the right call.
Hey, I'm going to let you know something right now. Andrew Berry, don't you try that. don't you piggyback that move and think we're going to give you that same leeway. You know, we're going to work for the Cavs. Let's run this back.
Yeah.
No.
It works. It looks great. If it doesn't, it is a death sentence. We got a new sponsor on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and it is the Ultimate Pro Football GM game. Browns fans, remember our great partner, Ultimate Pro Football GM? Well, they're back, and they've added an amazing new game mode that we got to tell you about. The game that has you step into the shoes of a football franchise general manager and lead it to glory now has a new head coach career mode. So on top of getting to build your dynasty by drafting players, signing free agents, and hiring a coaching staff, now you also get to call offensive plays during the games as well. Additionally, you'll dig into the new tools you can work with, such as individual training camps and an upgraded negotiation system. So this fun and realistic game just got a whole lot better. If you already have it installed, be sure to do an update so you can try out the new mode. If you don't have it yet, download it right now. It's a must-have for all football fans. We all use it on UCSS. We love it. We know you guys will too. Ultimate Pro Football GM is completely free, has no ads, and is 100% playable offline. Play on the go as you want, when you want. And here's a special offer for all UCSS fans out there. If you use promo code LOCKEDONNFL in all caps inside the game store to receive a free boost to your franchise, make sure you get it, as this perk will jumpstart your play and give you the advantage you will want in creating a dynasty. To download the game, just visit ultimate-gm.com, ultimategm.com, or look it up in the App Store. Ultimate Pro Football GM. Start your dynasty today.
Let's bring in Leroy Hoard, who is with us every week. And there he is. Leroy, how are you?
I'm good. I was listening to you guys, and if you go, especially in basketball, if you bring the right guy in Spider Mitchell, he can get all the other stuff and everybody else to work together, right? Just with his leadership. It just seems like that's what he's done, and those guys feel that they have to respond. And a lot of guys are playing really well.
Leroy, I want to start at running back, the position you played, of course. Yep. It was kind of, I felt sad watching Nick Chubb this week because he's not the same player right now, and I don't say that like it's his fault. He's coming off a devastating injury. I think a lot of us, I'll just speak for myself, but I think my expectations for him were unfairly high coming off that injury because I'm used to him being better than the rest of us, a superhuman being. But in the end, ligaments don't care how strong you are, how tough you are, how hard you work. And he's just not the same guy. Is that fair to say? And do you have hope that after whatever, maybe the whole rest of the season, that he can get back to that again? Is that still possible?
Here's the problem. You're confusing two things, Bull.
Okay, go ahead.
You're confusing being able to play with being healthy.
What do you mean? Okay, like you say
he can be well enough to play,
right,
but not healthy enough to be 100%.
Okay.
And so from that standpoint, yes, he's healthy enough to play football.
Right.
But he's not back to where he can be Nick Chubb.
And you think that's still there, though? You think he can get there?
These things dude, besides Adrian Peterson, who came back.
It takes a year.
And if you pay attention to Adrian Peterson, when he came back and ran for 2,000 yards, he did it with a limp.
Yep.
Okay? So
crazy.
being able to play doesn't mean you're healthy. We need to stop this as watching players play on the field and not understand what they went through. It takes longer than a year to get to 100%.
Right. You're right.
So to expect that is being unfair to not only him, but to the process of healing. When you come back from a knee, I had the same thing. I didn't even have surgery. And I played through a season with a brace on my knee, limped most of the season, and everybody say, oh, he lost a step, he's over, it's over. I'm like, really? So that's why I make this point. That's why I make this point. And I say this all the time. I do not get mad at players if they're not 100% if they don't play. We've set that precedent.
Yeah.
The fans, the organizations, the coaches. We have set that precedent so that players, if they're not 100%, don't play. Because now look how we're talking about Nick Chubb. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I don't think we're
So
getting
just because he can just because he can do those drills, don't mean he can play damn football.
That's true. You're right.
It's gonna take a minute.
Yeah.
But he's giving you what he has right now. And that's the most important thing. He'll be okay. He'll continue to get stronger. That's the thing. You ain't been playing football on that leg consistently in a while. Yeah. He's going to get stronger. Now, the problem is, Father Time is undefeated.
That's true.
So what role does that play in his comeback? But I can tell by the way he's running, he feels fine, but he doesn't look like he's quite there yet. And I'm not holding that against him because I know what that feels like.
Right. Are there mental hurdles, Leroy, for a running back coming back from a knee injury?
For a running back, sometimes it's a little bit easier because you get hit on every play.
Yeah.
So you go into the process knowing you're going to get blown up a couple of times. You know you're going to get hit, and you just deal with it. But I think right now it's just a matter of strength.
Okay.
Like, it takes longer than a year to come back from a knee. Or, you know what? I'll give you another example. Aaron Rodgers saying he could have played at the end of last year, and he's still limping.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Come on now.
Leroy, look, I told him, I was sitting here, I was like, listen, I love Nick Chubb to death. I'd have had two of these, one in each knee. I'd have had the patella tendon, ACL, MCL, PCL, all the CLs that you want to have. All the CLs, I got all of them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, but here's the thing. When you're doing that, people, you are training or doing rehab to get to base level, which is I can walk and I can run. While you was trying to rehabilitate yourself to learn to walk like you were a child again, other dudes just doing plyometrics, running hills, getting stronger, getting faster, looking at film. Right. And when you come back, they already got you. They already, and then you're out of shape. You ain't in game shape. And then, by the way, if you watch the All-22, it ain't like the line is moving people out the way to begin with. So it's a lot that goes into it. I think he'll get better. You'll see him better next year because now he'll have time to train and rehab.
Exactly. So I mean, and here's the way I looked at it. Man, I was so glad to see Nick Chubb playing football again.
Yep.
Right. I knew what he had to go through. I know what I had an idea of what it was going to look like. And you guys asked me, what should you expect from Nick Chubb? And I said, nothing. Him being on the field. You don't realize the amount of work it took just to get him on the field at this point. Now he can concentrate on getting back to where he feels comfortable doing the things that he knows he was and can do again. But it's levels to this. You know, first you get to where you can walk, and then you get to where you can run, and then you get to where you can cut, then you can get to where you're not worried about getting hit. Then you can actually get to the point where you're getting hit. Then you got to build up stamina to be able to carry the football for a game. Then you get to and there's a whole bunch of levels, and he's kind of doing this on the fly. And so I'm not gonna let nobody sit here and kind of take that process and say, oh, maybe he's getting a little older. I'm like, no. So like he's probably where he and I will say this. He probably realizes where he is, and the last thing you do is get frustrated about it. You got to just stay the course. Just stay the course and keep trying to get better and keep trying to, improve and keep trying to get your leg strength and keep trying to do all the things to get you where you feel more comfortable playing football. And he's doing it on the job. That's the only thing. All these things we're talking about of where he has to get to, he's doing it on the job.
Leroy, we were having a conversation earlier about Jameis Winston, and obviously he has the nice win against Baltimore, and then obviously struggled this weekend against Los Angeles. Excuse me, still say that, but Garrett's like, what'd you say, G. Bush? You're like, kind of off the Jameis train. But last week we had the conversation, like, could he be the guy for the next couple of years? I think it's silly. It's silly, I think, to have the conversation today like that.
That's why I said 3 games.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Because you got to leave yourself open for that. Now, here's why I'm upset with what happened this past Sunday. Only one reason. If you're going to give me 3 picks, I want the ball down the field. A lot of short passes. Were they scared of the pass rush or something? You see what I mean? And when he threw it downfield, it almost seemed like he was forcing it. See, look at the pass chart.
The gameplay in Leroy was a little confusing. There wasn't much play
Right,
action.
because here, when I watched the game, Bush, this was what I was thinking. I say, damn, they're doing the same thing they did with Deshaun. I thought we were going,
pivot.
I thought we were going to get away from this. That we saw what the offense could be. You don't go back.
Crazy.
Right. So I don't know how much of it is they had this game plan of throwing the ball short and medium passes, and that ain't Jameis though, right? You asking him to throw these little passes like this. He want to launch that thing, and you better be careful because he gonna launch it. He gonna do it probably when he shouldn't, right? So I was always under the impression that once we saw what we did 2 weeks ago, that would open things up and they would start putting pressure on the deep side of the field, the deep end of the field. And to watch that game and see that everything came to the 10 and 15-yard spots, I'm like, I was a little taken aback by that. And I didn't know why. Like, I don't know what the game plan is. I don't know where they worried about the pass rush. I don't know this, but I know that you have a guy who likes to push the ball down the field. And if you don't include a lot of that in your offense, he's going to push it down the field anyway. And that's how he got them 3 picks.
Yeah,
so I don't know what to make of that. I don't know what to make of that, but I was just a little frustrated that he was throwing those medium passes instead of kind of putting pressure on the, because if you always have somebody pressuring deep, then that's going to create more of a window for those 15 to 20-yard in cuts. But if you have everybody running 5-10 yards, then the defense and everybody comes down. So I don't know what the game plan was. I don't know why, how it ended up being that way. But this chart right here, this chart right here, that's a Deshaun Watson chart.
We don't want that.
Right. And I wish you had the chart of the week before. You see what I'm saying?
That, Mike?
So you could compare the two. If you could compare the two and kind of see what it looked like to understand what I'm talking about, that maybe it was what they thought about the defense. Maybe they thought the pass rush was going to get there too quick. I don't know. But at some point you got to try, right? At some point you got to say, hey, let's push the ball down the field a little bit. I don't know what the reason was, but the first thing I thought when I was watching the game is like, whoa, what are we doing? Like, whoa. But
Leroy,
again, without knowing what.
I have
Go
last
ahead.
week's passing chart real quick if you want to
Okay.
talk about the differences.
Yep.
He's going to pull it up right here. We'll take it full. But this is his passing chart against Baltimore, and we'd already seen his one against L.A.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of the very similar stuff, but look at down the field. He's making good reads in that he sees safety over the top on the left. He's coming back to the right. Okay? So, like, he's making good reads. When you look at the other one, pull up the other one again, it just seems like, look at all the white dots. All the white dots are right by the green dots. You see what I mean? It's not there's not a big disbursement of the white dots. When you go back to the other one, you see the play calling and the actions that they were running got the white dots more spread out. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of what you want. But this looks kind of similar to the last one, but it just seems like there's more. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I think
I don't know, man. Like
throwing your hands up.
I don't know. I think we all do that, man.
I don't know why, but I would say this, that's why I said, you say how many more games you need to see of Jameis? I say 3. That'd be about a quarter of the season, 4 or 5 games, quarter of the season, and you'll be able to make a decision on, hey, can we ride this out? Does the good outweigh the bad? Can we coach him on this other stuff? Maybe design some different plays. Maybe get a feel for the plays that he likes and he runs better. It'll take that long, or do we just go week to week? Right? Because if you go week to week, you're not being fair to the team either.
Go ahead, Mike. You got something?
Leroy, I just had a question real quick. When you look at those two passing charts, this is probably just a coincidence, but I'm curious if you had any insight on it. Against Baltimore, all 3 of his touchdowns to the left side of the field against the Chargers. San Diego. Mm-hmm. All 3 interceptions to the right side. So all 6 touchdowns, interceptions to the right side of the field. Is that a tendency thing we should be paying a little more attention to with Jameis? That's where his home run / more dangerous attempts are coming to, or is that just a random coincidence?
It could be the way they were lined up. So sometimes, and this is the last week against Baltimore, it could be the way they lined up formationally, right? And if you can see, I always see the deep dot on the left.
Yeah.
Right? I always look at that and probably determine that's why all the passes were to the right, because they were, kind of hanging out. So maybe he looked away, looked the safety over. They were playing single deep. And I wouldn't be shocked if you look at the next one and it's almost like a 2 deep look. No, everything's going. So everything's going. The safeties somebody's over the top there. So a lot of the balls are going to the left. So they just flipped the formation. I think that when you see all these balls going to the left and you see this over to the right, I think maybe he didn't look the guy off as much as he did, or maybe he got rushed, or maybe he saw the way they were lined up pre-snap. So a lot of his passes have gone away from the deepest dot, which is good. So he's kind of looking at the field well. I'm just trying to figure out why I got about 50 dots within 20 yards of the line of scrimmage. Like, can we get a dot at 30? Can we get a green dot at 30? And so what happens is if you can't spread out a defense, either running the football or throwing the football, then immediately they're not creating a whole lot of space for Nick Chubb either. So I think moving forward, they're going to probably try to put more pressure down the field because they're looking at the same things.
Leroy, good stuff, man. As always, we appreciate it. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week.
Hey,
all right, man.
Hey, Bush. Bush, the only thing you missing is a horse.
Yeah, I need that, man. Listen, I was watching.
Hey, dog. Hey, first of all, ain't nobody gonna help you on that horse. And if we put you on the horse, that horse gonna kick us.
Oh man, good luck getting off that thing.
Hey, listen, that'd be crazy. If I come in the parking lot on a horse, on a steed, that's crazy. My Instagram will go crazy.
I think you need to make
First
that
of
happen.
all, you ain't never been on a horse if you called it a steed.
Nah, listen,
Get that Old Town Road remix,
yeah,
man.
Listen, I am not getting y'all not about to flip me off. Not
Thanks,
that
Leroy.
Christopher
All right,
Reeves me.
fellas.
All right, we'll see you next
have
week.
a good one.
Yeah.
Thanks to Leroy. We're going to bring in our next guest now after a quick word from FanDuel. Get ready to tackle all of the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to join today. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
We'll bring Shaun King in. Shaun, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. Let me first say, as
Shaun
big
froze
fella,
up.
We got Sean
Can you
back.
hear me?
You're good, Sean. Yep, we got you.
I hear you now.
okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, AG, riding the horse is a big fella, overrated, man. Ruined my trip to Dominican Republic.
Got you up out of here?
Yeah, man, got off that thing, couldn't walk for 2 days, man. Don't let them trick you into it.
I got on a horse once in my 20s. I was on a horse.
Man.
And I was like, that's it for me, man.
Hey, listen,
I'm never doing that again.
I don't do horses. I don't
Yeah.
do four-wheelers. I don't skydive. Listen, if I'm gonna go up out of here, like you're gonna be like G. Bush was at the house, man. You get me.
By the
D
way,
probably the only one. D's the only one in playing shape. He might could get
Hey,
away
man,
with a
let's go.
short ride.
Let's
He's
go.
right.
Yeah, right.
I'll jump on that thing right now.
Water skis.
I've only seen him regularly again now for the last couple of months. It's still kind of weird how skinny he is. You've never
Right.
been this thin
Nah, I feel great.
as an adult.
It's called.
dude.
I mean, you know.
And I'll never put that weight on again.
Yeah,
I
that's
promise
good.
you that.
It's
My
good.
body, my back, my knees love me right
Yeah,
now.
that's
I'll
true.
tell you that
It's
much.
called health.
By the way, Sean, unrelated to the Browns here, because none of these guys play for the Browns, although one of them used to. I was having a discussion with a friend of mine, and we were talking about how if you made an all-star team of wide receivers just from LSU and Ohio State versus
Oh yeah, you Gucci.
versus every other college in America,
Oh, man.
you'd have better wide receivers from just those two. I mean, think about it. From Ohio State, you got Olave, Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr., JSN, and Terry McLaurin. Just those five.
That's wild.
And then from LSU,
Dang, dude.
you've got Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Michael Thomas, and
Malik Neighbors.
Malik Neighbors. And who's the fifth? We'll throw in OBJ, I guess, as the fifth.
Sure.
Sure. Brian Thomas.
It doesn't
I
matter.
think
I
Brian
mean, they
Thomas.
loaded.
Brian, yeah.
I mean,
You got more than 4 already.
I mean, that's crazy. Don't forget, even if you take out OBJ because he's old, those other 9 receivers between the two, JSN would be your 9th receiver, and that guy's on the verge of becoming a Pro Bowler. I think
That's wild.
I mean, it's just crazy that those two schools have produced in the last few years all these great receivers.
I think that might be a conference thing because I think you could probably put Alabama, Ole Miss together and come up with some dudes. It's just, and look at what's at Alabama now. Ryan Williams. It's dudes down there in the South, man. We play the game a different way in the South. No offense to anywhere else in this country.
Hey, but listen, I want to throw this. I know McNugget's going to be salty at this one, man. But I got to get to it because I think we be dragging our feet. There has been something that we've been told that this is a mid quarterback draft. I know you watch all kind of tape. I know you stay breaking it down. When you look at these guys, Carson Beck, Shedeur Sanders, Quinn Ewers, who's the next?
Cam Ward.
Yeah.
Which one of those guys?
The LSU guy.
Nussmeier. Out of those dudes, what is your quick take on all of them, and who do you feel like has the mojo to get it done?
I think the story's still being written on all those guys. I won't even attempt to evaluate them until the end of the season. I just think it's an incomplete evaluation right now. If you had to put my feet to the fire, I would say either Cam or Shedeur would be number one in my book, but I would have them behind Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, and Caleb Williams if they came out last year.
Okay. All right.
You think Michael Penix is going to be? I know he hasn't played at this point, but do you like him?
Oh yeah, he's going to be box office. If you like Kirk Cousins in that offense, he's better at everything than Kirk Cousins, except he lacks experience.
Wow, that's a bit. Jaden Daniels has been.
I love that guy, man. I love that guy.
Phenomenal. I had him unequivocally number one. They almost banned me in Chicago. I was on 6'10" to score, and I told them that Jaden Daniels was 10 times more prepared to play in the NFL than Caleb Williams, and they thought I was crazy. That kid is box office. If he can stay healthy, he's got to be very intentional this offseason about putting on some weight, like creating a thicker frame. But if he can stay healthy, man, he's going to be really, really good for a long time.
Dang, man. So
I do want to get to Jameis, though. I
was going to ask you that now. Let's get to it because, it was a down week for him after a nice week. The week prior against the Baltimore Ravens. What did you make of his performance? Maybe you heard a little of Leroy there at the end, too, talking about how he didn't take enough deep shots down the field or complete enough deep balls. Overall, what did you think?
So here's what I think. The Browns aren't good enough for a defense like the Chargers. One of the things that's not being talked about in National Football League, the Chargers may have the best defense in football. This might shock some people. Some people are statisticians and they know it. What if I told you that the Chargers have given up 20 points once this year? Once. In every other game, their defense has held the opposition to 17 or less outside of one game where I think somebody scored 19. So they have not given up more than 20 points in any game in 2024. They are damn good. The Browns, as they sit here currently, they're just not good enough for a team that's that good. They don't have the weaponry, the elite playmakers to produce points. To put in contrast, for people that think I'm crazy, you would think the Baltimore Ravens are better. The Baltimore Ravens have given up 25 or more points 6 times this season. So the caliber of defense was upgraded substantially, and I think it exposed some of the things that Cleveland has to get fixed this offseason. And I'm going to say this now, I don't think quarterback should be one of them.
Well, the funny thing is, Shaun, is everybody went bananas with how well Jameis played the first week. And now people are going bananas the opposite way with how poorly he played in week 2. People were talking about contract extension after one game, and now people are like, he stinks, he said blah, blah, blah. Well, to me, that's ridiculous. You got to see how he plays the rest of the year. I'm with you. I'm not ready to write off. I shouldn't say I'm with you, because, you know better than I do. I think we got to see more of Jameis the rest of the year before you make a decision on him going forward. But I'm certainly with you that I'm not writing him off as being the guy next year potentially for them based on one bad game against, as you said, a really good defense.
Here's what really stood out to me. He never stopped trying to win. Even though things weren't going well, they were very one-dimensional. I think Jameis was the second leading rusher with 27 yards. I think Chubb had around 39 or 40. No one else had over 10. So extremely one-dimensional against an elite defense. But every time Jameis went on the field, he was trying to win. And in doing that, he's trying to create some plays and you put some balls in harm's way. But I can live with that. I want my quarterback to be aggressive. I think about the Browns and I think about what they could be if they get better around Jameis. And it's a lot cheaper to get better at the other positions than it is to improve overnight at quarterback. Trust me.
When you look at, I guess, the surrounding part, maybe you watch this a little bit. What are they trying to accomplish in the run game? Like, I watch it and I just don't know what the run concepts are. There's some. I was watching the Baltimore Ravens game, and I was watching them double team and run some duo plays, and it seemed as if they were double teaming at the point of attack, but never getting to the second level. And I like maybe they're just trying to get people off the line of scrimmage, but some of the run schemes, it just doesn't seem like it's cohesive to what they're trying to run. What have you seen in the run game for the Browns?
I think run game success is based on mentality. And I think that has to be created from the beginning of the season in practice. If you look at the Chiefs run the ball effectively because they don't stop trying to run the ball. Like, they're going to make you – I know Dustin calls Kareem Hunt. He's going to get he's going to make every run a 3-yard run and then make every 6-yard run a 3-yard run or something like that.
The Jason Lloyd quote. If you need 3, he'll get you 3. You need 6, he'll get you 3.
So true.
Right. But because the Chiefs' mentality, Andy Reid being a former O-line coach, they just continue to make you make those tackles. And I think that's what Cleveland, when they were good the last year and a half in those stretches, I thought it was because they were committed to running the ball. And the thing with that is you want to have speed and length on the outside. So when you do play action, you can be aggressive down the field. You know, we're trying to find out. Jameis is giving him a lot of opportunities, how good Tillman can be. But to be honest, I mean, where would you rank Cleveland's current wide receiver core out of the 32 companies that reside in the NFL? I mean, we're talking bottom 5 probably?
Yeah, easy.
I like what I've seen from Cedric Tillman, I got to tell you.
I do
me too.
I think he's played well. I think he's promising. They don't have the problem is, like, I think Jerry Jeudy's a decent number 2 receiver, and Cedric Tillman's improving, but they don't have a legitimate number 1 that the best wide receiving cores do.
Can you imagine how good those guys would be if they had a Mike Evans?
Right. If you had a legitimate number 1, you're good enough at 2 and 3.
And no offense to Jerry Jeudy. No offense to Jerry Jeudy, but if he never played another down right now, we call him an underachiever.
No doubt.
He's never lived up to the expectations coming out of Alabama. And the change of scenery hadn't really catapulted him like we thought it would, you know. So maybe he's not an elite number 2.
Yeah, that's fair.
So now you Tillman's kind of being discovered, but nobody will put him in the number 1 category that some teams have with a Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase or some of these guys. And the reason I'm bringing this up is not to talk down on any of the other players, but to make the point that Cleveland has more issues than just quarterback. And I think what Jameis is going to show over the course of the rest of the season is that I don't think they have an issue at quarterback anymore. They've got to get better around the Q.
But you think you don't think they need a long-term answer at the position?
No, I think Jameis being 29, I think he is.
Yeah.
I mean, Jameis got a good 5-6 years left in him the way he plays. I mean, he's not a guy that depends on his legs to beat you. I mean, he's a traditional pocket passer that has enough functional mobility that if needed, he can pick up a first down on 3rd and 6 if things break down. So, I mean, I look at this thing in 4 to 5 year windows. I mean, if they decide he's their quarterback, then you got your guy next 4 or 5 years. If Dorian Thompson, what is it? Robinson, Thompson,
DTR.
or Thompson, DTR, if he continues to develop behind a much better teacher in Jameis Winston than Deshaun Watson. And here, let me make this point right quick. I think I've said this on here before. Association breeds assimilation, right? Whatever you hang around that environment, you start to take on the characteristics and attributes of that environment. You can see it in Jordan Love, right? When you watch Jordan Love, you can see some of Aaron Rodgers, like the off-balance throws, the sidearm stuff. That's why he's inconsistent. To go from Washington to Deshaun Watson, who's talented but fundamentally very unsound, to watching Jameis Winston every day, that's going to help DTR immensely in his development.
Shaun, you think the best free agent wide receiver this upcoming season is T. Higgins? And not only is he good,
Baller.
You'd be stealing him from a rival. I mean, he's been the number 2 guy, obviously, in Cincinnati. I think he's good enough to be a 1. I think he's, he's probably like an Amari Cooper number 1. He's not an elite number 1, but a good, he's certainly better than anybody they got. Is that a must move for you this offseason?
Absolutely, you got to be in the play. Yeah, absolutely, you got to be in play for that. The thing with T wants to get paid. He's not coming on a discount.
Nope.
So it's just when you're looking at how you're going to allocate your resources, you got to keep that in mind. But T. Higgins to me is He's shown the ability to be a number one. He's never had to be a number one. And here's what I mean by that. It's one thing to look like the number one when you're getting the second best corner all the time. It's another thing when Denver comes to town and they're going to put Surtain on you the entire game. Can you still give me 7 for 85 and a touch?
Right.
That's a real number one. So I only say that because if you're going to pay a guy like Justin Jefferson, then hell, I want him to be like Justin Jefferson.
That's right. That's fair.
Hey, what'd you make of some of those busts by the secondary? The Browns defense. They did a nice job, but they couldn't get off the field. Those big chunk plays that happened with the secondary were on third downs too, which is really, really disappointing.
Yeah, the pressure bust pipes, and they were under so much pressure because the offense couldn't get off of that field goal. I mean, it just eventually they screwed it up. I mean, because they played admirably. I mean, Myles Garrett, man, he got a couple rushes in that game. I know when I'm watching the All-22, I'm supposed to be looking at the quarterback, but I'm a football junkie, so I can't help but watch it all. Man, Myles made some rushes. Good Lord Almighty, he going to have tackles scared. They can't sleep at night. But when your defense is under that kind of pressure, every time they go on the field, like at some point, they pay the other guys too, and they made some mistakes. And I really think it was over-aggressive on the initial touchdown up the sideline. Who was that, to Palmer? Mm-hmm. I think it was it Denzel that came off?
Yep. Yeah.
He's trying to make a play on 3rd and medium on the underneath route, trying to go get an interception, create offense on defense. And, against a good quarterback, Justin Herbert, he sees it and he punishes you. But I thought overall the defense played winning football.
Shaun, did really quick, the last question is, did we overestimate the talent that we had specifically on offense? Did we overrate?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because when I look at them, I don't see the playmakers. I watch the other games and guys immediately jump off the page. You're like, wow, who's that guy? It just doesn't seem like they have that same level. Where would you put the talent level of the Browns? Because I think sometimes the fan base and us in the little small bubble, we kind of think a certain way, but outside people are like, y'all should rethink that.
Here's what happened in Cleveland, in my opinion. I think you always got to have context when you answer these questions. 2.5, 3 years ago, you had one of the top 3 offensive lines in football. Like, when they were healthy, that group was really, really good. Would you agree with that, or am I misspeaking?
They were.
They were legit. That has eroded, and they haven't overcompensated outside of it. So now they can't lean on what their bread and butter was, which is Chubb in the run game and being a lead on the offensive line. They added a name player in Jerry Jeudy, but a guy that's still trying to find his way in this league. Mm-hmm. If you take away Amari Cooper's game last year, I think against the Texans where he had like 4 touchdowns, I mean, he was pedestrian statistically. So, I mean, even when Amari was there, it was like they're average at receiver. And Njoku's really good, but they acted like he was invisible for half of the season last year. They're starting to throw him the ball a little bit more. So they're middle of the road. I mean, they're middle of the road. When Cooper was there, without Amari Cooper, I think they're bottom 3rd offensively from just a talent standpoint at the skill positions. Like, they don't have guys who you're like, if we get them the ball, they can take a 10-yard play and turn it into a 50-yard play. They don't have those explosive athletes. And for comparison, Detroit does. You get Jahmyr Gibbs that ball, and I know Jerome Ford, I think, will be better now that Chubb's back when he gets healthy. But if you get Jahmyr Gibbs in space, that's trouble. Mm-hmm. Sam Laporta's outrunning a lot of linebackers. Jamison Williams is taking the top off the defense. I know he's suspended, but like the explosive offenses in this league right now have explosive players.
That's a good point, Shaun. Mm-hmm. And Shaun and Mike, we'll have you guys will have your quarterback breakdown again?
Yep, we're doing it this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good.
Man, Nuggets got this little new toys. He got all kind of stuff going. He got the little Tetris plays over there. He got the dots like the basketball game. Like, he all low. Okay, I see you, Mikey.
Don't mess around.
We trying, Shaun. Don't worry. We're trying.
Thanks, Shaun.
Thank you, Shaun.
Hey, shout out to the Cavs before I leave, man. Keep it up. They're rolling right now.
Yes, sir.
That's right. Going for 9-0 tonight. We'll see you next time, Shaun. Next week.
Thanks, Shaun.
By the way, before we get it, go ahead, do a read.
No, I don't have to do a read. I just want
Yeah.
to make sure we don't pass over Dustin.
Yeah, I want to get to the cornerback stuff in a minute, but I brought up T. Higgins there for the Browns, and I'm curious what you guys think. Like, the Browns need a number one wide receiver. I don't like T. Higgins is not a top 10 wide receiver in the league. He's probably somewhere between 11 and 20.
Hey, listen, his value has gone up because he plays next to Jamar Chase.
Right.
Period.
So we don't know like
You're
how
right.
good. Now, to be fair, the Bengals' record when Jamar Chase plays and T. Higgins doesn't is not very good.
Oh,
so
they play off each other very well,
certainly.
and that's why.
And he's a big dude.
Yeah.
Is he worth breaking the bank for?
Well, I mean, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I do feel like when you go get a guy like Higgins, who's been in a system where he's had somebody playing opposite of him, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Those guys go to other teams and they don't give you, if you have the expectation to get that sort of production, oftentimes you don't.
Right.
Like if he came here and was the number one guy with Tillman and Judy and Njoku, I don't know. I don't know if he would have, like, how many yards does he have roughly offhand?
I don't even know. I mean, I'm gonna look. He's missed some games this year.
What's he got? Like 600 yards?
Nah, because he's been hurt.
I don't think it's that high. I'll look it up for you right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just
he's having a great year when he's played.
When he was healthy last year, what did he have? 1,000 yards?
No, he missed some time last year too.
T. Higgins has 341 yards this year.
But he's only played what? 3 games?
5 games.
Okay.
5 games.
Can I ask a question that I can get the right answer to?
Yeah.
How many yards does he average a game, roughly?
He's averaging about 70 a game.
Give or take 7.
That's a lot, dude.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's great.
Last season he played 12 games and had 656 yards.
Here's what we got to come. Here's what we got to come to the conclusion with. Because the Cleveland Browns have not drafted well, they are always going to overpay. So I don't care what the money is. You're going to always have to overpay.
Yeah.
You especially if you don't hit in the draft. So the Browns not only need one receiver, they're like the Guardians. They need 2 bats. They need 2 receivers.
But you know they're not going to do that.
Well, they're not going to win.
Well, if you get it,
so you have to you go in free agency, you get one, and then you draft one.
Oh, okay, draft. I thought you meant 2 veterans.
No. There's a lot of ways you can skin a cat.
All right, yeah, I agree with you.
They got to get because look, when you think about this. This is wild. The Kansas City Chiefs, who can afford to just say, we're the Chiefs and we got Mahomes, we ain't getting nobody.
Yeah.
They are aggressive. They're going to get DeAndre Hopkins. They already got
but they did let Tyreek Hill go.
But they went and drafted another burner right after that, and they got Kelsey still.
And to be fair, I think the only reason they traded for Hopkins because Rice got hurt.
Aggressive. They had Rasheed Rice.
Yeah.
Think about it like this. The Bengals have 2 crazy receivers. The Dolphins, 2 crazy receivers, and they ain't won nothing. So how those teams got 2 crazy receivers and a quarterback and they ain't won? How far do you think you got to go?
Yeah.
You ain't got a quarterback or receivers.
Right. Now the Browns, one other option for wide receiver this offseason, and this guy is better than T. Higgins. He's a legitimate top number 1. It's DK Metcalf. Now he's got 1 year left on his contract. I'm guessing he's not happy because he's now underpaid by the current standards. You trading for him? I mean, he's a big time number 1.
Oh my God, yeah.
He's
unlike anybody the Browns have had since Josh Gordon.
The only way you can get this off, and this is why I think Shaun King is saying that. If the Cleveland Browns can go one or 2 ways. They can piss everybody else off and get a quarterback and tear it down.
Yeah.
People, I don't know if they got the temperature for that right now. Or if you come out and say, all right, Jameis Winston is the guy, that gives you an opportunity to afford yourself an opportunity to have money and picks to go get the guys that you need to get in terms of trades or whether it's the draft.
But why do you got to do – I mean, the Vikings signed Kirk Cousins, who's better than Jameis, and still drafted a quarterback in the first round. Falcons, sorry. Yeah. Still drafted a quarterback in the first round. Now, people criticize them for that, but we'll see how good Penix is.
But the Falcons, think about it. The Falcons already had Kyle Pitts. They already had Drake London.
Yeah, but
they already had Bijan Robinson.
Well,
they got their young.
Wait a second. Wait. But the only thing I'll say about that is, first of all, David Njoku is as good as Kyle Pitts.
Well, no. What I'm saying is
that's the same level of tight end.
What I'm saying
is,
yes,
we don't have a Drake London. I get it, but
what I'm saying is they already had their young core identified.
I know, but
So they can afford.
But Pitts in London hadn't really done much.
But I'm saying, so if you already say we like these young guys, of course they got to get better. We can afford to take a quarterback at a position that is not really a position of a big need. Like you already had Kirk Cousins. You take Penix and you say, well, look, we still got our young guys and we got Penix, right?
I'm just a little surprised. And listen, Shaun knows more about quarterback play than I'm ever going to know. I'm a little surprised he thinks it's a no-brainer to just commit to Jameis when he's only played 2 games and only 1 good game at this point.
Well, he does have a track record of many, many years of playing. Yeah, he had the one bad year where he threw the zillion
But no other team has wanted to make him a starter for a number of years now.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll find out what his value is.
Right. I don't have a problem with them making – if Jameis plays well the rest of the season, I don't have a problem with them. If they don't like a quarterback in this draft or they want a quarterback to be able to sit a year sticking with Jameis, I don't know. But I wouldn't sign Jameis to a long-term extension.
The other thing here, too, guys, is like, can this regime – Can there be enough patience for the fans and for the front office to go through a rebuild? If you draft a quarterback, you're not going to be good next year.
Unless you get a Jaden Daniels.
Or
C.J. Stroud. It's happened 2 years in a row. It's it doesn't.
Okay, well, first off, you're going to have the pick of the litter.
Right.
Jameis is probably going to win you some games here.
What's funny is that both Jaden and C.J. Stroud were not the first quarterback take.
Yeah,
it puts you in a very big. I like what you just said. That's very sound because we got to look at it as if, all right. You know what a rebuild is, right? Do the fans have a patience to say, okay, we drafted a quarterback. Now you got to go through the year 1 and the quarterback's garbage.
But that can't be a consideration, I think, for the team. You can't worry about what the fans are going to have. Browns fans will be there no matter what. We can pretend they're not going to be. They're going to be there no matter what.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
This all lays in the backdrop.
Yeah.
Jimmy is trying to get a new stadium.
Yeah, but he's paying for most of it anyway.
I get it, but that pressure on and look, Jimmy, don't act like Jimmy has been a guy that's been a sound reasoner. If you start taking L's and you go through a rebuild and you start to be reminded, I don't think people realize that 1-31, that almost killed and I'm a Kool-Aid drinker. That almost killed my fandom. You know how tough it is to turn the TV on, and you worked for the Browns at that time.
Yeah.
You knew going on the air before this game started, they had no chance to win with Cody Kessler or nothing.
Yeah.
It was just, and you had to sell it.
I get it, but fans are going to be there no matter what.
Yeah, you did a great job.
Fans are going to be there no matter what. We saw it. The Browns 2 weeks ago, before the Baltimore game, everybody had given up on the season. I'm not watching them. I'm not doing this. A week later, they beat Baltimore. They're going to the playoffs. They're going to win all these games in a row. We love Jameis.
Totally.
That's right.
Browns fans are never going anywhere.
But they won't go anywhere. Yeah. But the pressure of – because, look, they got veterans now.
Yeah.
When you're rebuilding, some of these people ain't going to be on the team. Something you're holding the levies right now. And we talked about it a couple days ago, there are a lot of games left. They have to look good in some of these games. They can't, Kevin Stefanski does not have enough goodwill built up, or Andrew Berry goodwill built up to do a full tank.
But what's going to happen if they do?
They're going to get fired.
I thought you were saying the fans.
The front office is going to get fired.
What is a full tank? A full tank is what? Drafting a quarterback? That's not a full tank.
A full tank
is trading all your veterans.
They started with the veterans. The full tank is saying, okay, we got these veterans. We're going to go young. Let's go with the youth movement. So now you start to see younger players, obviously what it is. You go in and draft a young quarterback.
Yeah.
Now you got the young quarterback.
So you can have more flexibility to go after other players in free agency. You can build because the quarterback's on a rookie deal.
Right.
Now here's the thing: Deshaun's not off the books for a couple of years, so that's gonna
affect
prohibit you from being able to spend money. So to your point, in theory that's great.
Yeah.
But the Browns are going to be handcuffed for a couple of seasons here.
They may be, but the only thing I'll say, the only good thing about Jimmy is he's shown the ability to not care about the cap to this point. That he is willing to spend over it and kick the can down the road. And to this point, he hasn't let that stop him spending. I mean, maybe that'll change. If that becomes all dead cap space, he may feel differently. I don't know. But, and they may not like any of these quarterbacks, and maybe they're not going to draft a quarterback. I don't know what they're going to do, but I don't think drafting a quarterback necessarily means you're blowing the whole thing up. Well, no. Now, if you trade JOK and you trade Myles Garrett, yeah, well, that's now blowing it up. But I don't think they're going to go that far.
What I will say is blowing it. This is my idea of blowing it up, and it's a sneaky way.
Yeah.
If either the general manager or the head coach loses his job, to me, that's a gentleman's blow it up. The gentleman's blow it up is devastating because now, if the GM gets replaced, they're going to say, well, listen, I didn't draft this quarterback, and I didn't sign up to have this coach. If you keep the coach here, or you move on from the coach comes in, and now the coach is like, well, look, I run a different system than this. What quarterback did you guys draft? I didn't have a say-so in that. And you got to give a coach 4 years to put his philosophy in.
Yeah.
So, that's the devastating part about if the Browns didn't have no expectations, it'd be an easier thing. But the expectations we're going to be not only contenders, but we're going to be good. And we thought we turned it around with the culture. We thought we were over the conversations with tanking, and it's just tough.
If you just move forward with Jameis, you get stuck in that middle. That's not a good place to be.
Then you're the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
You don't want to be that. You don't want to be in that middle, but we'll see. Dustin, before we get back to the Cavs, let's talk about these breakdowns in the secondary. We talked about it with Tyvis yesterday. He's complained about their lack of communication for a couple of years. How does this happen? Why are the Browns not communicating well? Like, they're professional players. How is this happening?
I don't know. I mean, it's really hard. In the secondary, you've got hand signals.
Right.
You don't have to communicate verbally. You got to make sure you're on the same page. And honestly, I have no answer. I'd love to see the snippet of the All-22. I haven't had access to that yet.
Yeah.
But it's.
Dustin, we have the dots. We can't show the play, but we have the dots. So, Steve,
well, first of all, before we do this, take me back to your time at Ohio State now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen.
How did you get the safety told you what to do?
Yeah, I mean, I essentially played. Let's just go back to my sophomore year. Okay, the year we won the title. So I'm the boundary corner, which means obviously I'm playing on the short side of the field. Mike Doss was my strong safety. Typically, he was playing alongside me, or was Donnie Nicky, and. Honestly, I didn't even go to the huddle as a corner. I didn't need to. I didn't because all I needed was a hand signal.
Mike would signal you.
Yeah, so Mike would give me a signal, and if it was essentially cover three. I get the fist, so I'd know it's 3 deep zone, middle of the field safety, and if it was cover two, I get this little hand signal we used to call it Kathy.
Yeah.
It was a D'Antonio thing,
okay.
And cover one was just press man was we changed it up a little bit too,
right.
but would rub your arm like that. It was pretty simple, man.
What was this hand signal for Mike Doss just running his own stuff?
Because it was hey, Foxy, you're on your own.
No lie, I played with him in high school, and we used to laugh. And by the way,
Mike Doss rules.
He would do his own, and I've never seen he just make the play.
Yeah, there are guys like that. I mean, Paul Amalo's another one.
Yeah,
where you could freelance, and it didn't matter because the guy was just always around the ball. But in those moments, he let me know that.
But at least he let you know he's going rogue.
Yeah.
But the thing is, that's what I don't understand. It seems so easy.
It is easy.
So why are they having this problem? This seems like there's no explanation for it.
No, it's not. I mean, other than our guys just flaking out on the field. Now, granted, I did that several times. You worked with me for 10 years. You know that is possible to happen.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
Fair,
I would ask Doss multiple times, let's verify that call.
Yeah. What's that again? Okay.
Doss, call again?
Yeah.
I have no answer to why. Show me the dots if you got them.
Yeah.
Man.
Which play is this, Mike?
This is the first one. This is the very first breakdown.
Trey Palmer.
This is the
this is
the shorter one. Third and 21.
Third and 21 going in, touchdown?
Yes, and Steve, you can take it full, and Ant, you can play it.
Was this the next gen thing?
Yes, the next gen dots. If you know us to pause at any point, just let us know.
So Denzel's on him, and then he breaks off.
Tybus said Thornhill got his eyes caught seeing McConkey cross his face. Thornhill had to be in the top right.
Just looking at it here, I mean, looks like they're playing some sort of quarters, it looks like, right? I mean, because the corners are carrying down the field. You got the safeties Again, I'll have to watch the tape, but
Yeah.
I think the corner here is got to continue
So you
carrying.
think Denzel screwed up and not Thornhill, most likely based on the
Yeah,
dots.
I mean, unless Denzel thought they were in a cover 2, because the other safety you can see at the top left side is backing off. Now that he could be, working to that backside crosser who becomes number 2. It's hard to say, but I do think I don't know what Denzel's doing right there because Denzel is in no man's land.
Right. There was
Tyvus
nobody
made
else
the
there.
point, and that's because I want to ask Dust about this specifically.
Yeah.
But Tyvus made the point when you could take it back, Steve. Denzel shouldn't come off that receiver until there's a flat responsibility.
Yeah, and there
J.K.
wasn't. It
Dobbins
was so
never gets over
late.
there.
It was so late, and then
Right.
you're even then it doesn't matter. Your backer's in the flat right there.
And it's
Right.
3rd and 20. You'll rally to that.
Right. He's not getting to that. It's not his play.
Dude, on the last thing you can have happen there in the 3rd and 21 is to let a receiver get behind you like that.
Yeah.
And again, even if like you see one of your dudes who you're playing next to, like the safety right there, who may have been peeking in the backfield as opposed to actually looking outside, it happens. Like I'm not saying that it doesn't. We're not perfect. You got to have a little situational awareness that the guy's running by you and there's no one there.
Or at least you say, what's the most dangerous threat? The flat that's uncovered that is 3rd and 21? Or the guy that's going beside me. And I've always said this, Dustin, I told Tyvus and he was agreeing with it. Defensive coordinators tell us all the same thing. If we make a call and you guys diagnose it wrong and they call it and it's the wrong call, if you all are running the wrong call, you're right. Like you just can't have.
Gotta be on the same page.
You can't have one of you think it is cover 2 and one is cover 3. That's a touchdown. If we say the call is cover 3 and you guys all play cover 2, we might not be in the perfect situation for whatever they're running, but we won't have somebody running wide open.
Yeah, and the other thing too is when you're in doubt, like just you go deep, you drop. I mean, Mel Tucker, D'Antonio, my coaches at OSU, we always were taught deep is the deepest, wide is the widest. You play defense from top down, especially situational awareness. And I think sometimes guys nowadays could be like a get off my lawn moment, but I don't think the situational awareness is always there. Like sometimes you're not looking at the sticks thinking, oh, it's 3rd and 21. Just as sometimes quarterbacks are not aware, this is more so in college, like aware of the clock, aware of like how much time's left, aware of how many timeouts you have left.
Yeah.
Like you have to think about those things. And sometimes like in that 3rd and 21, or were they really thinking that? I don't know.
And I wonder, guys, sorry to cut you off,
No,
G,
go
but
ahead.
I wonder in a world where we have the ability to just change school. You went from a situation where it was like impossible to change schools, and now it's beyond easy to change schools. And I'm not even bringing it up because where my opinion on that is irrelevant. But when you have that and you have NIL, I wonder if just in general, guys are not being coached as hard because coaches are afraid, if I coach this guy too hard, he's going to go to another school.
Jimbo Fisher talked about that at length when I was at A&M. He can't coach kids the same way.
And I wonder if you're losing some of the fundamentals because of that.
The kids, I would say kids are more gifted than they've ever been. Guys that come out of high school can run the whole route tree. Your quarterbacks is throwing with velocity and they know where to spin it at. But when it comes to the football part and knowledge of it, it's just lacking. I was telling Tyvus, I said, man, look, we was a little MAC school. We had military coaches. All of them was either from Army or Air Force. And before games, they would tell us, hey, no, you got to have a test. These tests would be like, hey, we're going to diagram what the front is. You had to know what everybody did. If you didn't get a 90% or above, you didn't play. You know how many guys that was huddled around and before team meal, like trying to figure out what do I got on this?
For people out there who don't understand, like we literally got, and same as you, we got like a test, a pop quiz. Yeah. And you'd have to, on a Friday night, you'd have to answer it. And like you would get with your buddies and we'd be like, okay, what? Because you don't know. You're trying to figure out what the D-line's doing, what the linebacker's supposed to do. I'm just trying to get a hand signal and know what receiver I'm on.
Right. You ain't trying to learn the run fits, but you know what that did? Like, first of all, it made you, communicate with your teammates because you had to be in each other's rooms learning. And it also got you to have some responsibility to say, listen, man, because the scariest part in the world is if you get a call, right? And then they do something in the formation, and you don't know what to do. And you sitting there and they come into the line of scrimmage and they snapping the ball and it's a fear of God in you that nobody, you're just like, I don't know what I'm doing right here. If you ain't got nobody next to you, you're in trouble. But, I don't think they do. They got the iPads and stuff. I don't know what they do. But you can't win at the highest level doing that. I mean, you're giving up 14 points in the NFL. Like, you playing the Chiefs. Like, we're playing bad teams. You can't do this against good teams and win. It's just
no chance. No chance. All. Yeah, I mean, 3rd and 21, the probability of scoring a touchdown there is like 1%, less than 1%. Like, you just can't have that happen.
Well, let's see what they do.
All right, we're going to leave the Browns in the rearview mirror for today. We'll get to Super Chats later, but we got to talk more about the Cavaliers. Go ahead, Mike.
And we are going to talk a little more Browns for the end of the show. Don't worry, Bo. We're going to get back.
We are?
Yeah.
Let's just stick with the Cavs at this point.
Well, if we hold it for 20 minutes, we can hold it for 20 minutes. But, guys, Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. It is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do on Prize Picks is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Download the Prize Picks app today and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONNFL on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even have to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game when you want. So yesterday night, Jason and I did a Ultimate Cavs show. You can find that on our YouTube page if you want. And we were talking about the 8-0 start, the pursuit for 9-0, potentially 10-0 and longer. And it made me ask Jason a question. What is the most regular season games the Cavs had ever won in a single season? And he brought up the 2009 season where the Cavs won 66 regular season games. They lost in the Eastern Conference Finals, and they started that season 6-2. So this is an extremely premature conversation, but I wanted to have it today. G, you were around. Bull, you were around. Dustin, you were around for that season. Can the Cavs win 67 games this year? If they continue playing at the level they currently are to start the year?
If they care to, and if they stay healthy, it's certainly possible to do that. This day and age with the load management, it's difficult for teams to actually push to win 60, 70 games because why? Does it matter? Like, if you lock up your seed in the playoffs, some of those things don't matter. But I don't know. I also think late in the season, when you're going for a record like that or something, it sort of makes you focus on that as opposed to actually what the goal is, which is winning a championship. It's hard. 66 games is insane, by the way. That's insane.
That game, that year, man, what a time to be alive.
Yeah.
You had LeBron coming in. Some people will argue, what is LeBron's prime? Some people will say it's his first year with the Heat. Athletically, this is when LeBron had his peak. I mean, LeBron was doing stuff. He was taking the ball from people. He was dunking almost from the foul line. He was just doing ridiculous stuff. He created the chase downs. And then the cool thing about that team was they didn't really have nobody. I mean, I think that year they had Jamario Moon and Drew Gooden.
So that team was like Sasha Pavlovich,
Mo Williams, Delonte West.
There's not that many teams that have won more than 66 games.
No.
Very few.
This is unrealistic. We're getting carried away here, Mike. It's a bad job out of you.
It's a fine job.
It's a bad job because you're getting carried away. I love the Cavs. Are the Cavs going to be an all-time great team?
The 2008-2009 Cavs lost in the Eastern Conference Finals. They weren't an all-time great team.
Yeah, but they had LeBron James and the best player in the history of the sport.
And dude, they didn't have anybody else. Their other top 3 guys weren't even close to our top 3.
But it doesn't matter. LeBron James is the greatest player to ever play the sport.
That year, well, listen, they ran into the Magic.
I went to 2 games in that series.
And teams just don't win. Outside of the Warriors, who had an absurd collection of talent.
That was an absurd team.
Teams don't play that way anymore. They don't play to win every regular season game.
That year.
There's no way they're winning that many games.
I remember being at a wedding.
Hito Turkoglu.
Screw
that guy.
Rashard Lewis.
Who's the guy? Michael Pierce? Or what's his name?
Michael Petrus.
Michael Petrus. Oh, God, that guy.
I hated him.
Skip to my Lou was eating us up.
D. Howard.
It was tough, man. Like, they was playing a style where they were shooting. Back then, people weren't shooting threes like that. But they was barraging us. They put 4 shooters around Dwight Howard.
Nelson.
It was rough. I was sick to my stomach. But I will say this. That year, during the regular season, the Cavs were, they was on some different stuff. Remember all them celebrations they used to do? The games would be over. They'd be clowning people. Like,
I was just like where they were playing the flip the bottle.
Yeah, flip the bottle on the sideline.
Yeah.
No. That was.
Is that a different year?
That was the
Okay.
later iteration of the Cavs.
Or when you was rolling up, they was
Whatever.
doing a bowling
Point is, they were
pin.
having too much fun.
Let me tell you something. You guys know I'm completely old school when it comes to basketball. I love 80s basketball, 90s basketball way more than I like this. I think everything back in the
once
day.
arch rivals like the video game
Right.
punching guys.
Yes, I want fights. I want dirty play. I don't really like the NBA now, the way it's all three-pointers and there's no post play or very little. I find it boring. But LeBron James just is in a category by himself. Honestly, anybody still arguing that Michael Jordan is better than LeBron James is downright embarrassing themselves. And this is coming from, again, somebody who's old school, likes older things better when it comes to basketball. When LeBron first came in the league, I thought it was laughable that Cavs fans were saying before I moved here that he was better than MJ. There's no comparison. It's embarrassing. The only argument that people have is more championships. Yeah. Well, LeBron's been to more championship series. Michael Jordan played with Scottie Pippen, one of the, I understand LeBron played some of his career with Dwayne Wade. But Scottie Pippen's what, a top 30 player in the history of basketball?
Top 50.
Yeah.
Right?
Top 50 for sure.
He was on the All-50 team, right?
Dennis Rodman is a top 50 player. He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I mean, stop it. So that's the end of the conversation. But this Cavs team, listen, I love the start they're off to. To start thinking they're going to be one of these all-time great teams, and I hope you're right.
Mikey,
we got to step on the brakes.
Let's have
a
a conversation when they're 25-2.
Yeah, I mean,
real quick. So
at 8-0 to think they're going to win 67 games, 68 games with only like 5 teams in the history of the league have done it, and they don't play that way anymore. Mike, you know that.
I didn't say they were going to. I asked, can they?
Why are you yelling at Mikey?
I didn't make the case.
Because it's funny.
Okay.
I agree with you, but listen, Bo, if you want to get mad at somebody. We put this in the chat.
Yeah.
Over 300 votes, 66% say it's going to happen.
Of course fans are going to say
wrong.
that.
The chat's never wrong.
Our fans thought Browns were going to the playoffs when Jameis played one good game. I mean, come on. Let's not get crazy.
Here's the thing.
I don't
Teams
think it's
don't play that way anymore.
And to Dustin's point, load management, you have to have incredible
guys are going to
help.
get hurt.
Here's the question.
And if they keep winning games, then let me know what you think.
Here's the question that you can't legitimately ask. If they continue to play well, would you say, is this Cavs team more talented or better than that team?
No. I mean, in terms of depth, it doesn't matter.
Bull's right. LeBron,
come on, LeBron just accounts.
So,
he almost won a championship against Golden State by himself.
With Matthew Dellavedova.
I mean, he's that deal. Like, but it's closer to ask about the talent rather than 66 wins.
I hear what you're saying, but it's
66
just like
not happening.
LeBron is just, you can't. The comparisons are crazy. I saw, what's his name? Was it Jalen Rose trying to argue that like Michael Jordan would beat LeBron James in one-on-one in their primes? Are you out of your mind?
He wouldn't.
Yeah, that's an even worse comparison.
LeBron James is a tall Myles Garrett.
He's a
with bad. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Isaiah Thomas says it best.
Yeah.
He says, you guys, like, I don't know what the 90s babies is talking about. Jordan came in the league at 84, right?
Yeah.
So he never beat the Pistons in their prime. He never beat the Celtics in their prime. He never beat the Lakers in their prime. He caught them dudes in 91. That's 7 years. What happened the first 7 years? Like, how is that just not a thing?
Yes, and by the way, if we're gonna decide the best player of all time based on the amount of championships, then Bill Russell's the best player of all time.
Kareem,
then that's it.
And Robert Ory's second.
Well, no, but he's not the best. You can't say it that. Bill Russell was the best player on the teams that won. You got to be the best player on the teams that won.
I just think you have to break it down into, like, me and Dustin are big into shoes, right? We own between us probably, I don't know how many pairs. Between me, us, and Tyvis, and Earl.
At least 8 pairs.
8 pairs. Oh, you look.
I'm sorry to get my J's up there,
look.
man.
Get
between you, Tyvis, and Dustin, yes. How many pairs of shoes?
200.
Probably about 300.
300? Yeah, add me in, you're up to 302.
Yeah.
Oh, I have 300 myself.
See, look.
You have 300 pairs of shoes?
Nah, probably 150.
Yeah, like it's
150. How many you got?
Man, probably about.
I might have 300. Now I think about it, because I have 80 pairs in my basement right now.
Maybe
crazy.
Maybe like 110. But I just started taking it serious. But
do you have them cataloged?
They're in cases.
No, I got my Jordans are in cases, but like I have other shoes.
They
Like,
did.
if you just want to count like my
Forces,
Hokas and my other stuff that I wear,
yeah.
I probably have like 300 pairs.
So when it comes to the cultural significance of Michael Jordan,
it
will never be surpassed. Like
LeBron's brand will never pass Jordan.
Of course.
It's the same reason small kids that were born
legend.
5-6 years ago know who Michael Jackson is.
Right.
They know you buy those shoes, you don't know why. You wake up and you're like, I just know that those are the cool things, and I'm gonna get them. And Jordan hasn't played. There's nobody that's seen Jordan play. Jordan's last game was like in 2002. So they'll never catch him. But when it comes, I think people conflate those two. They put the cultural impact.
Yes.
Plus the championships, plus the mythology, and plus on top of it, back then, like you said, there was a game of the week. It wasn't no national. You got the game of the week on Sunday. They played the Lakers or whatever the case may be. You didn't even see none of these other guys or teams play. I remember asking my dad, who's the Mavericks? They had Roy Tarpley.
I did hear an interesting one.
Who's the Mavericks?
Somebody asked Shaq this. Of course, you know what his answer was. But a 2-on-2 game in their prime.
So like NBA Jam.
Shaq and
Kobe?
and Kobe against LeBron and Anthony Davis.
Oh, Shaq.
Look, bro, you go back in.
It's more about Shaq.
Hey, get in the time machine and go watch Shaq at LSU.
Dude, it's unbelievable.
It's this guy is pushing the ball. He's throwing no look pass. It's unreal, bull.
Oh my God.
Go watch
Blue Chips.
This man, Shaq it was different.
The acting in that movie is so bad.
Oh my God.
If you watch it now, like I watched it recently, Nick Nolte.
Hey, what was that little power forward? What was his
dude?
name? What was his name? It was Butch McRae.
Yeah.
Good memory.
Neon Budo.
Yeah.
And what was that? You supposed to know it, McNuggets. You know the white dude.
I was responding to a Steve Becker text. I totally missed.
Tell me you've seen Blue Chips.
Yeah, great movie.
Who was the white dude? What was his name?
That got the duffel bag full of money.
Oh shoot!
And Bob Cousy played the athletic director.
That when he wanted his dad wanted a tractor. I think
that's right.
Dad wanted a tractor.
He was. Bird made a cameo in that movie.
Yeah, listen, man, Blue Chips was crazy.
Bobby Knight was in that movie.
Yeah, he was
in that movie.
Yep.
A lot of cameos for sure.
That is when college basketball was its heyday. Shout out to Dada Big Monday and Super Tuesday, Dick Vitale. Man, I used to watch Calbert Chaney and the Indiana against the Buckeyes.
Well, when I watched Big East basketball when I was a kid, man, they used to beat the crap out of each other.
Ed O'Neal was in that.
He was.
He was the reporter.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the lineup here.
Big East
what was
basketball.
the name? Did we find out the name of the?
Do you remember? Well, see, here's some of the characters' names I have.
Yeah, I want the character name.
Happy, Pete,
Butch
Ed.
McRae, Tony, Mel, Marty, Slick. That's it.
What's the guy's name? This is crazy.
How do we not remember the white guy's name from that movie? The character. I don't know who the actor is either.
But I, back then, boy.
Yeah.
Big East basketball, Seton Hall, St. John's. You definitely had all the Villanova.
Providence was good.
Providence was great.
Was it Ricky Rowe?
Ricky Rowe.
Yeah,
that
was
it.
it.
That was it. Ricky Rowe.
Man,
Yeah.
He was the first dude. I said, "Oh man, they got the big that was like this first stretch forward."
By the way, any of you guys watch The White Shadow back in the day, or maybe in reruns? Have we talked about this?
Yeah, we
before?
talked about that on the.
It was only on for like a couple of years.
Yeah.
Mike, have you ever seen that show?
Never heard of it.
Dude, you got to go back and watch it.
I'm looking for a new show, so
it's an old show, but it was called The White. You know the show? I can't. So it's from the 70s, I think. But
Yeah,
you got
70s.
it kind of holds up a little bit. There's a show called The White Shadow. It was about this white coach who supposedly played in the NBA for the Lakers. He gets hurt. His career ends early, and he ends up going back to his alma mater, this school in L.A., and he becomes the basketball coach there. And anyway, it's funny because it's most of the players are black, but they have one Italian guy on the team, and the Italian guy's name is Salami. And then there's one Jewish dude, one Puerto Rican guy whose name is Gomez. But it's funny though. It's a good show if you guys who love basketball. Go ahead, Mike.
Got to get one last read in today, so let me tell you guys about my new favorite game, and that is the Ultimate Pro Football GM. And they're back, and they've added an amazing new game mode that I got to tell you guys about. The game that has you step into the shoes of a football franchise's general manager and lead it to glory. Now is a head coach career mode as well. So on top of getting to build your dynasty by drafting players, signing free agents, and hiring a new coaching staff, you can also call offensive plays during the games as well. Additionally, you'll dig up new tools you can work with, such as individual training camps and an upgraded negotiation system. So this fun and realistic game just got a whole lot better. If you already have it installed, be sure to do an update so you can try out the new mode. If you don't have it yet, download it right now. It's a must-have for all football fans. I love it. I know you guys will too. Ultimate Pro Football GM is completely free, has no ads, and is 100% playable offline. Play on the go as you want, when you want to. Plus, there's a special offer for UCSS fans. If you use promo code LOCKEDONNFL in all caps, inside the game store, you'll receive a free boost to your franchise. Make sure to get it, as the perks will jumpstart your play and give you the advantage you'll want while creating your dynasty. To download the game, just visit ultimate-gm.com or look it up in the App Store. Ultimate Pro GM. Start your dynasty today. Real quick, guys, before we do Super Chats.
Okay, go ahead.
Real quick. The trade deadline was yesterday. Darius Smith was the only deal they made. We talked about it on the show. Are you surprised that nothing else happened?
No.
Real quick.
No, I'm not surprised because, the only really big move yesterday was Marshawn Lattimore getting traded. He was like the only – everybody else got traded for late draft picks, and the Browns decided they weren't going to trade core guys like David Njoku and Myles Garrett and guys like that, and these other guys weren't worth much. I didn't think they were going to trade Jameis. They could have, maybe.
Yeah, who really needs a starting quarterback right now?
Nobody.
That's in the mix.
No, nobody.
Not. It's not like last year where the Jets lost Rodgers or something like that. Like if the, even though would the Chiefs even if they lost Mahomes or something like that?
They got Carson Wentz.
I know. So who knows, man? I'm not surprised by it.
Yeah. Dak Prescott's out, but Cooper Rush has been there 7 years, so they
like him,
and they stink anyway right now.
They're not good.
That stinks on Thanksgiving. We got Cowboys-Giants. What a terrible game.
I think
you'll still watch.
Yeah, probably.
It hits me like this, man. You ever see people who want to go on vacation or whatever, or they got a fundraiser and they do sell meals or they do garage sales to get rid of old stuff, and I always felt bad because you putting more work into selling this stuff than you getting back even. What it's worth, right?
Dude, I'm telling you, I argue with Sarah all the time about this. I'm like, just take it to Goodwill. We don't need to sell it.
To sell a bunch of things
you want to waste 9 hours of your day.
More than that, because you got to prepare it. You got to get the prices. You got to do this
for $200.
Yeah, it's total waste of time.
No.
It's not worth it. So they're doing these rummage sales.
Yeah.
And then you're doing press conferences after the rummage sale. You just tell you're not good, and you try to sell these players that aren't good.
No.
There might be a couple of them that you'll take off people's hand, but like you said, just give it to Goodwill. Just show up at the Salvation Army, say, hey, maybe I got my use out of it. Hopefully you get yours.
That's right.
It's different than baseball. Baseball, you can have a star player on the worst team, right? Who
Right,
has value, and it's just not the case with the Browns.
No, it's the only thing that football is the worst, and that's the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Baseball trade deadline, exciting.
NBA.
Basketball, exciting. Even hockey, which we don't really pay attention to, they got a million trades at the trade deadline. But football trade deadline is always a nothing burger. Mike, quickly give us super chats because I want to hit one other thing on the Cavs before we wrap up.
Okay, we got a couple super chats.
Yeah.
First comes from Kenny, and Kenny says, Jameis' first interception came with 6:44 left in the third when they were already down 3 possessions. He underperformed for sure, but the INTs weren't the reason for the Browns' loss.
Fine. He didn't play well, but it's one game. Go
Next
ahead.
up, Chris Fox says, Nick Chubb has always been an under-center running back, not a spread back.
Okay.
Christian Ortega says, CeeDee Lamb at 17 when we took Wills at 10 is a huge miss.
I'd say so.
Oh, my gosh.
DB Dog, Jerry Jeudy went 15th that draft before CeeDee Lamb too. DB Dog 21 says, based on Shaun King's assessment, if they keep Jameis at quarterback, should the Browns draft Travis Hunter in 2025?
Isn't he going to go first?
Who knows? He's going to go.
A quarterback's
going
to end up going first.
I'm going to tell you what.
Yeah.
if you draft Travis Hunter, you better use him.
You better use him on both sides.
Both
of the ball,
sides.
honestly. I've not seen a player like him
ever.
I mean,
like
even
this.
Gamble, who was amazing. I think this guy's better.
This guy, I mean,
Is he? If you had to go one or the other, what would you pick?
I wouldn't. I'm not.
If you had to, I'm
Dude,
just
it's
curious.
hard to. He'd be the best corner.
He's
and
the
best
best
receiver
corner
on
and
your
the best
team.
receiver.
In the NFL. He would be.
Right today.
Great. So he's Shohei Ohtani, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
And so
I better watch this guy play.
Yes.
I haven't watched him play at all.
And guess what? The thing about it is,
Yeah.
and I talk about it all the time, we don't like flash. Travis Hunter don't do nothing.
Dude, he's not a diva.
He goes home.
Yeah.
He don't drink.
streams.
He
He
don't
Which is
smoke.
crazy because he plays for the biggest diva coach.
He has none of that in him.
He's already married.
Yeah.
Or he has a
He's like in the
fiancé.
Bible when he's not on the field.
Yeah.
He's not doing any. He is special. And if the Browns,
In every way.
You
and
know what
if Browns
sucks, though?
and the Browns draft him, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Oh,
Because they'll ruin him.
Because we're gonna have him playing 4 snaps over here. We're just gonna no.
That's what sucks. He's going to end up on a bad team with a crappy coach, and
Yeah, I hope for the kid's sake.
like
he
you
ends
need
up
him
a
on
good team.
with, like an Andy. You want him coached by Andy Reid or Sean McVay or
yeah.
one of these great coaches
who actually knows how to use a player like that.
Why
Yeah.
would he not go first overall?
But he might.
The quarterback doesn't go first overall every year, Mike. If there's not a great
Miles Garrett was the
quarterback,
number 1 pick.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, exactly.
How long ago was the last non-quarterback the first pick?
Well, I don't know. Recently we had Miles Garrett. I'm trying to
Yeah,
think of
I
some
mean,
other guys we
that
had
was
recently.
what 8-9 years ago now.
There's got to be more recently. Let's see. First overall pick in the draft history.
It was what's the name? Walker. Is it?
Trayvon Walker.
Trayvon
right.
Walker for the
That was
Jaguars.
your Kenny Pickett one.
Yeah, Jaguars.
First quarterback. Yeah.
Yeah, if there's not a great quarterback, okay.
You have the list of all the number 1 picks? I have them right here.
Okay, I got it.
Do you want to beat? I have it, dude.
All right, here we go. Caleb Williams, Bryce. So Trayvon Walker in 22. Before that, it was Myles Garrett in 17. Before that, Clowney in 14.
Eric Fisher.
Eric Fisher, they said.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I
Jake
mean,
Long.
most of the time
Mario
it's a
Williams.
quarterback. Since 2009,
It's like every 5 years.
there's been 3 non-quarterbacks that have gone first overall. But if this guy plays both ways, that's a whole different.
Yeah, but
I guess it depends
here's
who's
the
picking
thing.
first.
Here's the thing. Like the guy's playing legitimately like 120 snaps a game for
Yeah,
Colorado.
can't do
he
that.
can't do that in the NFL. So
Right.
you have to pick and choose your spots.
yeah.
Right.
And like we did that with Gamble at Ohio State. He played almost every snap on defense, but then we would play him in big series. Like
Yeah.
like let's say the game's on the line. Well, you want Travis Hunter
Right.
in the game. You wanted Chris Gamble on the offensive side of the ball. Like you didn't have to have him out there stock blocking
He's
in
a-
the first quarter.
Right.
He's as far as his conditioning, he's a freak.
Oh my god.
His conditioning,
but
like-
he's going to get older.
Yeah,
like he's
yeah.
19 years old.
And
It's
the
going to
thing-
be interesting.
he's
But
not
he's going
very
to go
big.
top 2 or 3.
Yes.
So the Browns, I mean, right now the Browns would have the 2nd pick in the draft. By the way, people keep correcting me on that because they look at that website, Tankathon. I keep telling people it's like they can't understand this. Tankathon, the first tiebreaker for the draft is strength of schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So if the Patriots' strength of schedule is 500 and the Browns' strength of schedule is 480, the Browns get a higher pick because essentially they have the same record against the easier schedule.
Yep.
But what Tankathon does is their listing of strength of schedule, I don't know why they do this, is based on the strength of schedule for their entire schedule, including the games they haven't played, which doesn't make any sense because that's going to change as the year goes along. Right, Mike?
To my knowledge, you are correct. It's also silly to argue who is the 2nd pick in Week 9.
Fair enough.
And like die on the hill that you're right because it's going to.
But I am right.
You are right. But
At this moment, the Browns would have the 2nd pick. Now, there's 7 teams, I believe, that are 2-7.
There's 7 teams with 2 wins. I think one of them's 2-6.
Okay, so there's 7 teams with 2 wins. So the Browns, whatever. And if Jameis plays anywhere close to like he did in Baltimore, the Browns will win 5-6 games probably. And so there may not, I don't think they're going to, and I think the Panthers are a worse team. I think the Saints are a worse team. I think the Patriots are a worse team. But the Browns have a pretty good schedule,
The
pretty
game
tough
against
schedule.
the Saints, by the way, I mean, that has some big draft implications.
Yeah,
for the team.
I expect the Browns to win that game, but I don't know. But you're going to have a top 3 pick to get Travis Hunter, I would assume.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
3 more super chats. Daryl says, "Go Cavs 9-0. UCSS rocks. Love you guys."
Love you, Daryl.
Love you, too.
Donnie
Rollers.
M says, "Oh wait, Starboy just Well, I'll get to Starboys last. Donnie M says, "Gee, all you need is an urn and to tilt your hat down just a little bit, and you could be the Black Undertaker. Bull could pass for your pallbearer."
You know what I just thought about?
The Undertaker.
You know what I thought about you? Who you look like, G. Bush?
Who's that?
Like when they give you on the one box, you look like a character from Mortal Kombat.
He
That
does.
is.
That's good.
That is. It's
The hat.
like,
Well, I forget the guy's name though.
It's Raiden or Kung Lao.
Yeah, it was the newer one, like Mortal Kombat 3.
Oh, you talking
Because
about
Raiden had like the Egyptian hat on, right?
Yeah, Raiden had. Yeah, he kind of did a little bit. Kung Lao was the dude with the bigger hat.
Yeah, that's who you look like.
Kung Lao.
All right, two more. Joseph Silver says, "Bull, when are you buying a National Hockey League team?"
Buying?
What?
Bull, when are you buying an NHL team? National Hockey. I assume NHL. He means National Hockey League.
Why?
With your
I don't know.
billions?
Yeah. Where did
I
he
don't
get
know.
the impression
And then-
I'm filthy rich?
Yeah.
I don't
Look
know.
at those shoes.
And last one.
It's good.
Starboy says, "Bull, I love you, but yelling at Mike gets annoying."
How often do I yell at Mike?
Not enough.
That's Mike. That's McNuggets burner account.
I rarely yell at Mike.
I like the back and forth.
You've been
but
on
second-
his ass today, dude.
Because it's fun.
And you did,
I-
and you did call Anthony out for making a transaction
Yeah.
during
I
the
was
show.
just busting his balls. I actually think that's good. That's actually smart by Anthony
It's smart
not to
because he
wait.
can beat us
Bull's
all
just
to
a
the punch.
little
Yeah.
cantankerous today.
Yeah.
We'll see you in overtime.
Yes.
Peace.
Somebody